Ian Eagle, Mark May, our entire CBS crew on hand at the vet for the Indianapolis Colts and the Philadelphia Eagles. Oldest coach in the NFL, it's Jim Mora at the age of 64. Andy Reid is 41. He is the second youngest head coach in the NFL behind Oakland's John Gruden. Both are Los Angeles natives. And Reid is a guy that in his first year in the NFL has been able to get a lot out of his team despite the 3-7 record. The weather, incredible. 70-degree day here in Philadelphia. The wind, not a factor. Colts have won the toss, and Philadelphia kicks it off with David Akers and Terrence Wilkins, the return man. Wilkins trying to sidestep a tackle as he gets across the 30, and a flag comes down. A 26-yard return as James Darling made the tackle on special teams. It will work against Indianapolis, and Johnny Greer is our referee today, the veteran ref. Jim Mora's club coming off the win over the Giants.
Blocking it back. Number 47 of the receiving team doing the return. First down.
That's Billy Austin, the backup cornerback, getting called on the penalty. So Indianapolis will start out 1st and 10 just outside the 15. They'll go with a 3-receiver set to open play with Isaac Jones, a rookie out of Purdue, in there. On first down, a give to Edgerrin James, trying to cut it back and nowhere to run. Jeremiah Trotter was the first man to get there after James picked up just 1 on first down. Peyton Manning, 22 consecutive games with at least 1 touchdown pass. That is the longest streak of the NFL. He leads the National Football League in passing yardage. Just over 2,500 yards on the season. On a 2nd and 9, James in the backfield. Paul Shields as well. On a handoff, James cutting against the grain, trying to turn it to the outside, making Eagles miss, and that is Edgerrin James as a rookie, understanding how to use the angles. 10-yard run, first down. This is a 1st and 10. Line of scrimmage is the 28. Manning will throw it for the first time and complete to Wilkins. Getting to the outside, and Wilkins has another Indianapolis first down, a pickup of 11. This is a 1st and 10. Indianapolis on the move. On a give for James, finding a hole. James is spun down as he crosses into Philadelphia territory. Brian Dawkins makes the stop. It's a 14-yard pickup.
And when you look at Edgerrin James, he doesn't start off games well. He only averages 1.8 yards per carry in the first quarter, but he's getting off the ground this game in a hurry. Fouls his blockers on the inside, and this is why they got Edgerrin James. They traded away Marshall Faulk. 3 carries, 25 yards for James. The power of James inside between the tackles, he makes defenders miss.
Edgerrin James leads the NFL with 6 100-yard games. Manning on a dump off, and he throws it over the head of Paul Shields. So incomplete, and a 2nd and 10 for Indy from the Philly 46.
Edgerrin James, if you look at him this year, he's the only running back in the NFL to carry every carry as a running back. Usually on teams, your fullback will carry it, your backup running back will get a couple carries, but Edgerrin James is the only back for this team that has carried the football on a running play.
2nd and 10 now for the Colts. First drive here at the vet. Philly goes with a nickel package, 3-receiver set with Isaac Jones. And the play never happens. Flags come down.
Prior to the start, ball start, number 63, offense.
And that is Jeff Saturday. This is completely new to him, getting the start here tonight.
And right there, you'll see Jeff Saturday move early, and for a rookie, and it's not his rookie, it's his first year in the NFL, to come in and get your first start, you're a little nervous. You're playing against a good football team on the road. You've got to concentrate. You've got to rely on the players around you. Jim Mora, this is a smart team. They don't get a lot of penalties. They've started off this game already with 2 penalties.
Back it up into Indy territory at the 49. Pollard, the motion man, and a long count for Manning. On the draw, Edgerrin James through the middle. And again, James is able to create when it looks initially like the defense is going to bring him down. And he moves it ahead right near the 40-yard line of Philadelphia. He gained 11.
And for Edgerrin James, when you look at Edgerrin James, Miami, the way that he runs, Ryan, the way that he runs between the tackles, straight ahead he would have gained 25 or 30 yards, but this way, side to side, in between tackles, that's where he's talking. Peyton Manning's the second leading rusher on this football team, and that's for a quarterback, that's incredible on any team.
Now a 3rd and 4, and Manning will work out of the shotgun. He sends Harrison in motion, the Philadelphia native. Manning guns it over the middle and complete. Isaac Jones, his first NFL reception, and it's a first down for Indy. 18 yards via the air as they get it inside the 25.
And he's happy about it. His first reception in the NFL. He's on the outside. He's going to run a deep slant play, plants, and Troy Vincent gives him a cushion. He turns right there. It's a crossing pattern, reaches out and catches the football. For his first NFL catch, it's outstanding, but they're going to call this one back.
Oh, they just ruled it incomplete. Jones is claiming that he brought that ball in cleanly.
We'll take another look at it. I thought he caught the ball at first look, but here he goes across the defense. Here's the ball. There's the catch. Does he cradle it in?
They are saying the ball touched the turf, but it looked like he had possession of it.
I agree with that. I thought he had the ball cradled in with both hands around it.
I'm sure right now the Indianapolis coaching staff trying to determine whether or not they should challenge this. And it looks like it will be a challenge as Johnny Greer heads over to the sidelines. So Greer will take a look. I mean, here's the angle. You don't need to see any more than this.
It looks like he has possession right there. He's got possession as he's going through the air. That's a catch.
It would be a first down for Indianapolis. And as mentioned, the first NFL reception for young Isaac Jones, a free agent out of Purdue.
You have to really take your hat off to Jay Novell, the wide receivers coach for the Indianapolis Colts. The injuries they sustained at that position, E.G. Green's out. He's had a knee injury, and you lose your tight end, Ken Dilger, to a concussion last week. You know, they just keep bringing these guys off the practice squad, and they step up. And this is a young player with a young football team, so they're doing a great job of coaching the young talent in Indianapolis.
They have promoted Chad Plummer, another receiver, off the practice squad, as we get the word now from Johnny Greer.
After reviewing the play, we have an incomplete pass. The receiver had possession of the ball in the air, and the nose of the ball was the first to hit the ground. We have a 4th down, and Indianapolis is charged with a timeout.
Well, there you see it.
As we call it, he has possession in the air.
Well, they are ruling it incomplete as the ball did hit the turf. And Jim Mora's team has just lost a timeout, and now they face a 4th down. So instead of getting what probably would have been guaranteed points, at least 3, and maybe even a touchdown in the red zone, now Hunter Smith, the rookie, will come on to punt, and Allen Rossum, a very dangerous return man, is back deep. Flags come down, a lot of movement on the line, and Indianapolis feels that they drew Philly off sides. That would be a first down on a 4th and 4. They did. May have been Steve Martin.
Neutral zone infraction, number 91, defense, first down.
That's the former Colt, and maybe a bit overzealous.
And I am the smartest person on this play is Ratcliffe Thomas, number 55. Watch him. He's right in the middle. As soon as they jump off sides, he's a veteran special teams player. He's saying, hey, they're off sides. I'm going to jump. They drew me off sides. That's a smart play by Ratcliffe Thomas.
So Thomas with the movement. The flags came down, and forget about the replay because Indianapolis has gotten the first down anyway, but they do lose a timeout in the process. It's a 1st and 10 now from the 35. Back to throw it. Manning, plenty of time. Pass was too low, intended for Edgerrin James on the near side. He was defended by Mike Caldwell, the linebacker. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So far, the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles has done an outstanding job of keeping everyone in front of them. They don't want to get beat deep early. Indianapolis is notorious for going deep with Marvin Harrison early in the game to break your spirit and put points on the board.
They forced 6 turnovers last week against the Redskins, and in chatting with Troy Vincent, he told us the difference this year. The Eagles defense, they're just making plays. Last year they came oh so close, but they could never come up with the interception when they needed it. Now they are. On a give, here's James. Edgerrin James just keeps the legs moving as he crosses the 30-yard line for a gain of 8, and the rookie Barry Gardner making the tackle. We had a nice chat with Vincent. Had a couple of things that really caught our attention, a couple of sayings that stood out when we were going over our notes.
And the first one, he said, if you watch the quarterback throw the ball, you'll watch the wide receiver catch the ball, which means keep your eyes on the wide receiver if you're a defensive back.
He also said, pretend like every play is a passing play against this Indianapolis team. Don't bite on that play fake that Manning is just so good at.
That'll be key in this game if they can keep everything in front of them defensively.
Here's a 3rd and 2 from the 27. Manning out of the gun, throwing a floater, knocked in the air and incomplete. Intended receiver Marvin Harrison, and Damon Moore came in and gave him a lick. Manning now 1 of 5 throwing the football on this first drive for just 12 yards.
Right. Excellent coverage, and out of the corner of Peyton Manning's eye, he sees Damon Moore coming. That's why that wasn't a perfect pass. The wide receiver is open. If he zips it in there, it's a reception, it's a catch. But he sees the defender coming out of the corner of his eye, and he takes a little bit off the football.
A 45-yard attempt for Mike Vanderjagt. He has connected on 10 straight field goals. Trying to get the Colts on the board. Vanderjagt's attempt is up and good. Indianapolis, a long drive on their first possession. They get 3. They take the early lead. An 11-play, 56-yard drive for Indianapolis, taking up 4 minutes and 14 seconds, resulting in a 45-yard field goal for Mike Vanderjagt. And now Danny Kite, he's the kickoff specialist for Indy. Alan Rossum and Eric Bieniemy is the up man. Rossum standing at his own 10. Indy with a 3-0 lead. Here's the kickoff from Kite. End over end. Rossum ranges over from the 4. Here's Rossum with a head of steam, trying to remain on his feet, and he's twirled down at the 30-yard line by Paul Miranda. 26-yard return. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles offense will take the field for the first time when we return. Philadelphia 3-0 Indianapolis with a lead.
What really hurts, Mark and Victor, our producer, know that I haven't had breakfast.
Nothing. That's an upset in itself, considering the consumption you normally will have. On a first down, McNabb on a rollout. McNabb in trouble and sacked. Back at the 20-yard line, Cornelius Bennett was providing the pressure as McNabb lost 11 on that sack on their first play from scrimmage. Donovan McNabb last week against the Washington Redskins, he won his first NFL start, but the numbers were not pretty. 8 of 21, 60 yards, but he did have 49 yards rushing. It was just a matter of time when McNabb was finally going to get that start. On a handoff for Deuce Staley, leading the NFC in rushing, and he tried to force his way ahead as he got 4, who worked with Peyton Manning last season. On a 3-receiver set, 3rd and 18. Little dump off underneath the coverage. Staley tried to hurdle ahead as he got back a chunk of the yardage, but not nearly enough for the first down as he moved it to the 34 and picked up 10. Philadelphia will punt.
The Indianapolis Colts defense deathly afraid of Deuce Staley. They know if they can stop him or keep him contained, then they can slow down the Philadelphia Eagle offense. Catching the ball, receiving the ball, he will not go down on the first tackle. He always picks up 2 or 3 extra yards after the first hit.
Terrence Wilkins awaiting the punt from 15-year veteran Sean Landeta. Mishandles the snap. The rush was not on, and Landeta is able and very fortunate to get it off. Wilkins will try to return it. And he's down at the 30-yard line. Flags on the field. Sean Landeta was very lucky that the rush was not coming.
And I can tell you, they've got Philadelphia Eagles downfield before the ball was kicked.
It is against Philly, and the Eagles didn't know that Landeta had mishandled the snap. But this could have been disastrous in the early going.
Downfield, number 52 is declined.
So the Colts will take the strong field position. Ball spotted at the 32. Landeta avoiding what could have been a huge mistake. Colts have the 3-0 edge. Their second possession here in the first quarter with 8:42 to play and a 1st and 10 From the 32. Pollard and Shields are set up in a double tight end set with the injury to Ken Gilder. On a handoff, Edgerrin James, he is hit from the side and pushed forward to the line of scrimmage by Jeremiah Trotter. Jim Mora, the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, his first head coaching experience came in this city back in the USFL with the Philadelphia Stars. He has fond memories, Mark.
And some of those fond memories, he said his first game in this stadium, he looked up, they were ahead, they were winning. All of a sudden, a fight breaks out in the crowd, comes down on the field, and ex-Eagle, John Bunting, comes over and says, "Welcome to Philadelphia."
Yeah, but he said, hey, these fans were great to the Stars because they won so often. Here's Manning. Good protection. And the ball was caught by Shields. He was able to hold on as he spun down at the 35-yard line, a pickup of 4. So Mora is one of those USFL graduates. There are others. Steve Young, member of the LA Express, Doug Flutie, the New Jersey Generals, Nate Newton, the Tampa Bay Bandits, and Sean Landeta played for Mora with the Stars. And of course, Landeta now punting here in Philadelphia once again with the Eagles. This is a 3rd and 6. 3 wide receivers set. Nickel package for Philly, and Manning will work out of the gun. On a rollout, buying some time, Manning thinking about running. He does. He angled for the marker, and it will all depend on the spot. Peyton Manning thought he had enough room to get the first down, and it appears as if they are going to give it to him. He is right at the marker, and Johnny Greer has just made the motion. New set of downs for Indianapolis to work with.
This is how smart Peyton Manning is. Not just finding out where that marker is, getting across the first down, but going back and look at this play, he looks at the defense down the field. His guys are covered. The defensive ends on Philadelphia go inside. Adam Eddles, his right tackle, knocks him down inside. He knows he's got a free way to the outside to the right, runs to the right, and picks up the first down. That's total command of the offense.
Every defensive opponent we speak to about Peyton Manning, almost the first thing out of their mouth is he makes the correct read every single play. That's uncanny. That just doesn't happen at this level.
Delay. Offense. Still first down.
So they'll back it up, delay a game. Time ran out on the play clock. And the clock stops with 7 minutes to play in the first. Take a look after 9 games. Manning on a mission from 98 to 99. And the biggest key for him, obviously, the interceptions. He was so upset at himself last year because he was not a big interception guy at Tennessee. And he's obviously cut down in that category.
And you look at his interceptions this year, half of those are either tip passes or they're Hail Mary passes at the end of the half.
On a rollout, Manning might look to run again on a pump fake. And again, he gets to the sideline. Peyton Manning with a flag coming down. A late flag. Troy Vincent on the sideline made sure Manning was going to be out of bounds. And it looks like it will cost Philadelphia.
And Troy Vincent knows that you cannot hit the quarterbacks. The NFL will protect their quarterbacks.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Late hit out of bounds. Number 23 defense. First down.
Vincent is a heady player. And he does no better than this. Manning is clearly out.
That is a good call by the officiating crew. He's clearly out. He's pulled up. You can't hit a quarterback in a defenseless position. Once he steps out of bounds and he's over there, he pulls up. You have to pull up. You can't hit him.
The field position now for Indianapolis, the 41 of Philadelphia on a 1st and 10. On the ground, James stringing it to the outside, and Edgerrin James continues to get positive yardage with 6 yards on first down. Jim, it just seems that Cordell is so much more comfortable away from home.
And when he's at home, he gets booed a lot. And I think he feels uncomfortable at home. And it's almost like a home game for those guys on the road because he plays much better, and so does the entire team play much better on the road.
On 2nd and 4, complete. Marvin Harrison moving ahead across the 25-yard line, and he has just cracked the 1,000-yard plateau for the first time in his NFL career. Barry Gardner made the tackle, and another first down for Indianapolis, and that is probably the first of many 1,000-yard seasons for this Philadelphia native.
When you look at Marvin Harrison, you'd think he'd have 3,000 or 4,000-yard seasons, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. This year, he's healthy. He's doing all the intangibles to make the Indianapolis Colts a winner this year. When they need a big play, when Peyton Manning gets in trouble, they look to Marvin Harrison, and he always comes through.
On a 1st and 10 from the 24. Again, the Colts are moving the football. They fake the reverse. James looking for blockers, and that play just never materialized. He picked up one as Mike Caldwell got him down low.
I mean, you look at this play, Ian, the defense stays with Edgerrin James. If they go for the fake, if they stay with this guy right here when the fake comes around, if they go for the fake right there when the ball comes around, it's a big play. They stay with Edgerrin James. They know if Edgerrin James has that ball and it looks like he's got it, the entire defense of Philadelphia will string along with Edgerrin James. If you fake a reverse, they don't care about the reverse. Somebody will have contained. We're going to go wherever Edgerrin James goes with the ball.
Already putting up big numbers, though, James. 8 carries, 51 yards here in the first quarter. This is a 2nd and 9 from the 23. Manning in the pocket. Able to float it to the outside, and Edgerrin James. James is brought down by Dawkins and Vincent as he comes up shy of the 15. And 7 yards on the pass play. Edgerrin James in his rookie year, the number 4 pick in the NFL draft. He comes right in, steps onto the field as a starter, and he replaces a man that was very effective for this Indianapolis team, Marshall Faulk. Through 9 games, comparing Faulk last year as a Colt and James this year, those numbers couldn't be any more even. Look at the total yards.
You think if they had a phone conversation, it'd be looking good, Edgerrin, feeling good, Marshall.
The trading places. On 3rd and 2 from the 16. Manning fires, knocked in the air, and nearly intercepted. Barry Gardner had a shot at it as a flag comes down. Isaac Jones, the intended receiver. Damon Moore was there to deflect it.
23, defense. First down.
And Troy Vincent goes over the top before the ball gets there. This isn't that difficult to see. Once he makes his move to the inside, Isaac Jones, before the ball gets there, there's incidental contact. He's pushing off. As soon as the ball's there, he's all over the shoulder and goes over his shoulder to deflect the pass.
So it is Vincent picking up the penalty, and they are in the red zone at the 4-yard line on a 1st and goal. Another penalty hurts this Philadelphia team when the Colts would have faced a 4th down. Inside the 5, Manning on a give for James, trying to move ahead. James inching closer to the goal line. No signal yet as the Colts were looking for a touchdown. Mike Mamula was there to stop him just shy of the end zone.
What Edgerrin James is doing is going right at the teeth of the Philadelphia Eagle defense. If the play's called to the outside, he's cutting it back to the inside, as he does right here. Fouls his blockers right in the middle. Waverly Jackson, the right guard. Larry Moore, the center, getting an excellent push in the middle of the defense. And Marvin Harrison on the outside against Troy Vincent, battling on the outside. Great blocking by Harrison against Vincent.
Harrison got into it with Felipe Sparks last week. And now with Vincent here in the first quarter on a 2nd and goal. From the 1, 3 tight end set, handoff. James puts the helmet down, and he is in. Touchdown, Indianapolis. So the Colts get a field goal on their first possession. Now pending the extra point, they can take a 10-0 lead in the first.
I mean, just a simple dive play straight up the middle. Nothing fancy. Gets a block by Paul Shields, the fullback. Just goes straight ahead. Doesn't want to go over the top. Just wants to get the ball across the plane. Smart play by the rookie, Edgerrin James. He sees a little hole, hits the crease, gets over the goal line.
The offsides penalty earlier gave the Colts a 1st down, and that was on their first drive. Second drive, the pass interference kept it alive, and the Colts made the Eagles pay. A 10-play, 68-yard drive. 6:02 came off the clock for Indy, and a 1-yard touchdown run for Edgerrin James, his 6th rushing touchdown in his rookie campaign. Danny Kite will kick it off. Alan Rossum is waiting. Here's Rossum moving forward and catching cleanly at the 7. Rossum finds an opening as Indianapolis was able to converge on special teams and bring him down at the 40. 33-yard return. Tony Blevins making the tackle. 10-0 Colts. So far in the first quarter, the Colts offense has had 20 plays. Compare that to Philadelphia's 3. And Jim Mora's team off to another quick start with a 10-0 advantage. Eagles with a 1st and 10 at their own 40. They went 3 and out in their first possession. Here is Deuce Staley And the Indianapolis defense was ready. Just about everybody on that defensive front was in on the stop. No gain. Poole, Belzer, Cota, and Burris are in the secondary. Throwing on second down, and Charles Johnson dropped the football. That was a problem last week for these Philadelphia receivers. And I think the Philadelphia fans are trying to give the skill position players a message.
And not only last week, but the entire season, they've had problems holding on to the football. Quarterback Doug Peterson and Donovan McNabb have been getting the football to his receivers. They just haven't been catching it.
That's a catchable ball for Johnson, who is now in his 6th year out of Colorado. Signed as a free agent from Pittsburgh. Led the Steelers in receiving last year with 65 catches. Has 34 receptions this year. Some movement. It looked ugly from the beginning, and there was a reason why. That left side.
False start. Number 72, offense. Still 3rd down.
It's left tackle Trey Thomas, 2nd year out of Florida State. He's a good left tackle. He made a mistake there.
But he knew he had to bring his A game today going against Chad Bradsky. In every passing situation, he knows he's got to get off the ball quick because he's huge. He's 6'7", 350 pounds. He's going against a quick defensive end in Bradsky, so when he gets his pass set, he has to kick back as soon as possible to get set to get ready for Chad Bradsky on the pass rush.
That is the 4th Philadelphia penalty. Bradsky was shut out sack-wise last week against his former team, the New York Giants. But he does have 7 on the season. Now a 3rd and 15, stepping forward. McNabb firing, and nobody there. Johnson got tied up. He's pointing at Chad Cota. But no flag on the play. And the clock is stopped with 1:52 left in the first.
The Indy defensive front's doing a great job of getting pressure on quarterback Donovan McNabb. Right up front, you see the old guy going around the end. You see some of the younger guys in the middle. But Mark Thomas gets a great pass rush inside, making Donovan McNabb throw the ball a little earlier than he wanted to. And downfield, he thinks that his wide receiver got interfered with.
Sean Landeta gets this one off cleanly. Terrence Wilkins had a punt return for a touchdown last week. Starting from his own 20 and getting ahead to the 27. Line of scrimmage will be the 29. They gave Wilkins forward progress. He was pushed back on the return. And a 1st and 10 now for Indianapolis. They already have a 10-0 lead. Winding down here in the first quarter. Running play for Edgerrin James, and he is swallowed up. No gain on the play as Troy Vincent came over to help Brandon Whiting. Well, we talked about Indianapolis and their good start in the first quarter. That's nothing new for Jim Morris' team. They've been doing that all season. 64-22. They have outscored the opposition in the first quarter of play.
And they go for the big play right off the bat. Throwing the play action pass to Marvin Harrison down the field of play, stretching the defense, putting pressure on the opponent's defense. And psychologically, it's a big advantage when you put points on the board first in the NFL.
Total yards. Eagles are not even in the neighborhood. 102-2. Manning wants to throw it on a slant. It's Wilkins. Gets bumped forward from behind and pushed ahead right around the 38-yard line. A gain of 8 on second down, setting up 3rd and short. Mark Wheeler, the defensive tackle, coming over to make the play.
And I was talking to Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, before the game. He says, I'm always on Terrence Wilkins. And I said, why do you yell at him? And Terrence looks, and we're both standing there talking. He goes, yeah, he's always yelling at me all the time. He said, you want to know why? Because you were probably one of his favorites. And he turns around and winks at me. He's one of his favorite players. He knows he's going to be a heck of a player in the National Football League, and he can help his team as a rookie. That's why he spends so much time with him.
What a job Moore has done. He knows he's got weapons. He's using them. On 3rd and short, James. He's got an opening. Edgerrin James. Down the sideline. James looking for the end zone. Goodbye. Touchdown. 62 yards for this electrifying rookie.
You look at Tom Moore, not even smiling. He expects this from his offense, from his weapons on offense, but a great job of blocking up front. The backup, Jeff Saturday, which is getting a starting job today. Paul Shields, the fullback, tremendous blocking up front, did a little cross-action blocking up front. But when you look at Edgerrin James, going the distance, and Tom Moore's been around for a long time, 38 years as a coach, 23 in the NFL. He's seen this 100 times. Talking to him before the game, he also said, I've got to find new ways of scoring because everyone's trying to stop us scoring, and everyone expects us to score a lot of points early.
James had a 72-yard touchdown run last week against the Giants as Mike Vanderjagt adds the extra point. 62 yards on that run. And the Colts with a 17-0 lead, 12 carries, 117 yards, We're in the first quarter for Edgerrin James.
And Jeff Saturday pulls out. It's a little cross block. He pulls to the outside and springs Edgerrin James. He gets a great block for his fullback. But once you have a hole on the outside and everything's cluttered on the inside and you get that opening, it's gone. The only person that can catch is the safety. He was in the middle of the football field. He's not going to catch Edgerrin James one-on-one. He never gets touched on this play. He outruns the linebacker. The play is over. They're not going to catch him down the sidelines. Even with an angle, you're not going to push Edgerrin James out of bounds from behind. He's just too strong of a running back.
So talented, and he makes the game look so easy.
And just a rookie. And when you talk to Edgerrin James, he tells us, I don't want to be known as a rookie. I'm going to work hard every day. I may make some rookie mistakes, but I'm going to do my best. I love football, and I've just adopted football. When I went to Indianapolis, I've got no other hobbies. All I'm here to do is digest football and learn this offense.
7 100-yard games. That leads the NFL, and he becomes the 10th rookie since 1970 to crack the 100-yard mark 7 times in his first campaign.
Should we just send Rookie of the Year honors right now? Don't even forget about it.
Yeah, it's over.
Take another snap.
It is over, Mark.
He deserves it. Talented young man.
Wow.
And Bill Polian,
hey.
Everybody said you should take Ricky Williams first in the draft, the Heisman Trophy winner. Forget it. He definitely made the right choice.
Danny Kite on a kickoff. This one is short. Rossum from the 11. Philadelphia needs something here to spark them. Allen Rossum spins ahead to the 34-yard line. Give him a gain of 24 on the return, and Ratcliffe Thomas making the tackle on special teams as the first quarter comes to an end. Colts 17, the Eagles offense yet to show up. Second quarter action when we return to the vet after this message. Ian Eagle, Mark May with you from Philly. Start of the second quarter, and the Indianapolis Colts off to a spectacular start on Andy Reid's Philadelphia Eagles. Only 6 plays for the Eagles in that first quarter. No first downs, 2 total yards. This is a 1st and 10 from the 35. On a bootleg, McNabb trying to avoid the sack. Lost the football. It's loose. Indianapolis tramples on it, and Ellis Johnson able to recover. It is falling apart for the Eagles before this game basically got going. McNabb to boot lost his shoe.
And Ian, to boot only, they ran a naked boot on the play. Donovan McNabb, no one blocked the rush from the outside. When this happens, you've got to pull the ball down and either run straight ahead or just throw it away. Don't try to make a big play. The wheels have come off early in this game for the Eagles. Right here, the rush on the outside by Ellis Johnson, having a tremendous year on the outside, getting help from his cohorts of defenders. Here's Ellis Johnson at the end. The ball stripped loose, but right here, he just doesn't have a chance. And the smartest play is to get rid of the football. Chad Brasky, the first one in on the play. The rest of the defense, that's like fresh food right there. Everybody wants a piece of it.
Now a 1st and goal at the 7 for Indy. Already they have the 17-0 lead. Manning. Edgerrin James has the long touchdown run already. This time he is brought down by the Philadelphia defense, and a good tackle by Greg Jefferson. A loss of 1.
One thing the Philadelphia defense has done well on Edgerrin James is contained him to the outside. Edgerrin James loves to hit the outside of the tackle to make a play. They've done a good job at that, but it's between the tackles. When he runs off tackle and inside the tackles, he's been killing this Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Jefferson now in his 5th year, former 3rd-round draft pick. Don't forget, this Eagles defense lost Hugh Douglas earlier in the season with a torn bicep tendon. On 2nd and goal, Manning sets it up for James, and he is met. Mike Caldwell bringing him down. And this Eagles defense is trying to provide a charge for the team overall because the offense has been unable to do so. A loss of 3.
And if you look at that play, Edgerrin James really doesn't get a chance. As soon as he catches the ball, he turns around. He's met right in the face by Mike Caldwell. He didn't have a chance to make a move or get going, but excellent defense by Caldwell, fighting through the block, getting out, covering him one-on-one in the open spot.
It'll be 3rd and goal. Caldwell getting the start for the injured William Thomas, out with a hip flexor. From the 11. Out of the shotgun, Manning. Pump fake, Manning throwing. Wilkins couldn't catch it. It's incomplete. Brian Dawkins, the free safety, had the coverage. Even if Wilkins brought it in, he was going to get licked by Dawkins. And Jim Mora's team will settle for 3 following the turnover.
When you go across the middle, you got to watch out for the safeties. And Brian Dawkins has had a Pro Bowl year for the Philadelphia Eagles. just a slant across the middle. Brian Dawkins isn't going to take a chance. If he catches the ball or not, he's going down. And Terrence Wilkins isn't very big. He's 5'8", 179 pounds. To make that pattern run, he's got to be able to run away for defenders. If he takes a hit in the middle of the field, he's going to get tackled.
29-yard attempt for Mike Vanderjagt. Good snap. Kick is on the way, and it finds its way through the uprights. Now 12 straight field goals for Vanderjagt. Colts with a 20-0 lead in the second quarter. The cheesesteak is a bit soggy to start with. 20-0 Indianapolis with the lead on Philadelphia early in the second quarter.
This Indianapolis team, we talked about how they can jump on a team early in the game. I don't think the Eagles have ever faced a potent offense like the Indianapolis Colts. This team will not make mistakes. They protect the football.
And the difference, Washington's offense is good, but their defense is so poor that you can come back on them. This Indianapolis defense has improved. Another miscue, Allen Rossum. He's forced to the sideline. And the Philadelphia offense, as if they didn't have enough problems, will start out inside their own 10 as Radcliffe Thomas came over to touch up Rossum at the end following that miscue on the return.
This is just a situation of concentration. Watch the ball, look the ball in, and bring it in. You've done it 10,000 times. Now you're not concentrating. When you're down, you try to do more than you should do. You try to make something happen and do more than just your job. And Andy Reid right now, he's just got to settle his team down, go back to fundamentals. Let's run the ball. Let's get a first down first. Let's go from there.
That area of the field is getting some wear and tear here in the second quarter. That's exactly where the Colts offense had it to take over following the fumble from McNabb. On a give for Staley. Trying to run into the line and unable to do so. No gain on the play. Mark Thomas making the tackle. Donovan McNabb became the 12th player to start at quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles this decade. This is only since '97 now. Bobby Hoying, 13 starts. Peterson with 9. Detmer and Pete, 7 apiece. The other Detmer, Coy, has 5. And McNabb getting his second. Is there a dearth of quarterbacks around the NFL? Oh, you betcha. Doug Peterson, he was the starter. Him and Andy Reid had a relationship in Green Bay. And he was just warming the position up. On a pass from McNabb, nearly intercepted by Tyrone Poole, and that would have been 6. Torrance Small, the intended receiver, the former Colt, and Poole looking towards the sky.
And Tyrone Poole knows Torrance Small. They practice against each other, but watch the body language of Tyrone Poole. The way he can turn his body. He breaks and gets in front of this ball, and he's going for the football. That's an excellent job by Tyrone Poole. You can't play defensive back better than that. When you see the ball, you attack the ball, you don't touch the wide receiver, and you force yourself to the ball and break on it. Tyrone Poole did it on that.
Well, the only way you could play it better
is to catch it.
Yes.
You're right. And run it in for a touchdown.
And Poole would be the first to admit it. On a 3rd and 10. Nay Brown now in as a 3rd receiver. Here comes the rush. McNabb is hit as he throws. Loose football again. Indianapolis able to recover it. Mark Thomas. Man, oh man, this is an annihilation.
And the blitz came from deep in the secondary, a safety blitz. Donovan McNabb has to read this as a quarterback. He doesn't read this, and they do an outstanding job. Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, does an outstanding job of disguising this. Look at the top of your screen. You're going to see the blitzer come from the top of the screen right there. Doesn't have a chance. He doesn't see him. He's got to look at the entire end zone. He sees Jason Belzer, the safety. Here he comes running in. Here's your first one. That's Billy Austin, but on the outside is Jason Belzer, the other safety. Donovan McNabb sees the first one picked up, does not see the second one. That's a quarterback pickup.
They take over at the Philadelphia 10-yard line. They just haven't moved from this area. On a give, James. He was searching for a hole, and he was able to squeeze out 5 yards on a play that never even really developed for him. That's how good Edgerrin James is, and the blocking was there. Damon Moore made the tackle. It'll be 2nd down from the 5. Most sacks allowed this year in Philadelphia, amongst the leaders in a category where you don't want to be at the top. Indianapolis, fewest in the NFL. What a job they have done protecting Peyton Manning in his first 2 seasons in the league. And McNabb and Doug Peterson chatting things over on the sideline, and McNabb obviously still has a lot to learn. Just his 2nd NFL start, and he is getting walloped in the pocket. On 2nd and goal from the 5, Manning, quick throw and incomplete. Marvin Harrison was the intended receiver as he turned around.
And that's the difference between Peyton Manning and Donovan McNabb. At the end of the line of scrimmage, Mike Mamula's Peyton Manning's guy. He comes unblocked. Peyton Manning sees the blitz. He tries to get the ball to his wide receiver, but he knows to throw the ball away to get rid of the football. Donovan McNabb did not read the blitz. That's why it was nailed on the play. But Peyton Manning's smart enough to say, hey, if I can't get it to my guy, I'm going to get rid of the football. Right there, he knows it's a blitzer. He's got him hot. Throw the football. Take the hit. Take the lick for the football.
3rd and goal. Colts looking for more points. Shotgun for Manning. Stepping forward, throwing to the end zone, caught in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Philadelphia native Marvin Harrison. Indianapolis in a rout.
And they had him not only double covered, but triple covered. Damon Moore, James Darwin, the linebacker, he just ran behind them, came back around on a curl in front of the goalpost and got open and caught the ball. They found a way to get Marvin Harrison the football each and every game a different way. They'll split him out wide, they'll put him in the slot, they'll move him in motion, but they find a way to get Marvin Harrison the football behind the defense.
Mike Vanderjagt the extra point, and Harrison now with his league-leading 12th touchdown reception. He comes back home and has got something to remember it by. 27-0 Colts. Beautiful day here in Philadelphia. Temperature right around 70 degrees, and Indianapolis has been a lot hotter than that. Kite on the kickoff. It's a low one. Takes a roll to Allen Rossum. Here's Rossum. Trying to get it to the outside. Cuts it back. They'll try the other way. Rossum has some space to work with. And finally, this crowd has something to cheer about as he crossed the 40-yard line. And a 39-yard return for Allen Rossum. He was getting a block from Lonnie Polalay. That helped spring him.
And on special teams, if you go away from your wedge, you have to have help. You have to have the speed to go back around the blockers. Here he takes it away from the wedge, but he picks up blockers on the backside, reversing himself around field. Right there, bang, gets a blocker, still goes deep, picks up another block right there. And if you look down the field of play, it's just a sprint now. Can the contain of Indianapolis get him? They do.
So the Eagles offense will have it 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. So far, negative 21 yards of total offense for Philadelphia. Turnovers galore. McNabb. Kevin Turner couldn't hold on to it. Andy Reid has been very happy with his team's effort this season. There was just one game that came to mind, the Carolina game, where he didn't feel like his team had gone out there and given it their all. On a give for Deuce Staley. And you hear the chants of Deuce as he crosses into Indianapolis territory and brought down just shy of the 45, a 7-yard gain. Reid, who played at BYU, was an assistant there, assisted all over college football, got an opportunity with the Green Bay Packers and made the most of it. Quarterback coach for 2 years with Brett Favre, and he got the call to be a head man. Got off to a tough start with this team, 0-4, but they have been 3-3 in their last 6 games. They have been playing better football of late.
And he kept this team together, particularly on offense. And he says it takes a while to absorb the West Coast offense. May not even the entire year. It may take next year, but the players have hung in there.
On 3rd and 2, they went to the ground, and Deuce Staley, he's not going to have enough. Ellis Johnson, the first man to get there. And now Philadelphia facing a 4th down. Will they send the punting unit on, or will Andy Reid go for it? At the 45, his team is down 27-0.
At this point of the game, you have to go for it. I would think don't send the punting unit on. You're down 27-0. At least show your team that, hey, I've got faith in you. I believe in you. Let's get some first downs. Let's get some going, some enthusiasm going here.
They have no first downs today.
Wow. And that's what you need. You need to generate some enthusiasm. You need to get these guys rallied on the sidelines, because otherwise it's going to be a test for this team to continually stay in this game mentally, being down 27-0 early.
You heard the boos from the crowd as Sean Landeta came onto the field. The flag comes down, and time had run out on the play clock.
Offense.
So the delay of game will give Landeta a little more room to work with. And the line of scrimmage is now midfield. So Andy Reid making the decision to send his punting unit onto the field, facing a 4th and 1. Landeta will put it up in the air with Terrence Wilkins. Fair catch signal. He brings it in at the 13-yard line, and that's where the Colts will have it following the 37-yard punt. Bluebirds are out. They were out early today. $27-0. Indianapolis with the lead. Donovan McNabb talking with Brad Childress, the quarterback's coach. This will be a learning process. Peyton Manning can relate. Manning went through it last year as a rookie when his team finished 3-13. Edgerrin James getting ahead to the 15-yard line for a gain of 2. Jefferson and Thomas combining on the stop. The weather is getting colder in some areas, but the divisional races are heating up. Get a complete review of every team as they battle for playoff positioning. Just click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. The weather not an issue here today. Just beautiful conditions here in the city of brotherly love. And a 2nd and 8 now for Indy from the 15. Shields and James in the backfield. Manning backpedals in the pocket, throws, and complete to Pollard. He's got a first down across the 35-yard line, brought down by the rookie Barry Gardner, and a 20-yard pass play. Manning to Pollard, who's in for Ken Dilger. First 5 possessions for the Indianapolis offense. Score, 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 score.
You think that would put a smile on Jim Mora's face, but still in the second quarter, he's not going to smile to the end of the game. He wants his team to work on perfection, and he knows it's a long season. It's a marathon in the NFL. It's not a sprint. And he also believes that 10-6 may not even get a team from the AFC East into the playoffs.
Little razzle-dazzle. Again, the fake. James shedding one tackler, trying to sidestep another, and he is forced out of bounds. So the second time they've tried that play, and again, it was James keeping it. Bobby Taylor stayed at home. Mike Caldwell had an opportunity to bring him down initially.
And I think they should put this play back in the hopper because they haven't fooled Philadelphia yet. They know if Edgerrin James is touching that football, they're going to key in on Edgerrin James. They're going to make sure that they corral him one way or another. And they're not going for any fakes. If Edgerrin James even gets a fake on a play-action pass, the linebackers are going to stay with him. The secondary is going to sit back and make sure that they have the wide receivers in front of them. I think that's one play that offensive coordinator Tom Moore right now just took that Sharpie and just went zip.
On 2nd and 11. The connection is made with Marvin Harrison, who is spun down hard following the catch by Troy Vincent, one of the better cover guys in the NFL, and Vincent had a lot of respect for Harrison when we spoke with him. And who around the NFL doesn't have respect for Marvin Harrison? 4th year in the NFL, and Harrison just keeps getting better and better. You talked about it earlier. He would have had a 1,000-yard season prior, but he just couldn't stay on the field consistently. This year, it's just all coming together for him.
And it usually takes the 3rd or 4th year for a wide receiver to mature in the NFL, to stay healthy, to understand everything about the NFL, and he's having his breakout season this year.
Here's James remaining on his feet as James gets brought down at the 48-yard line by Barry Gardner, a gain of 3. And with the trio of James, Manning, and Harrison, the three-headed monster, as Jesse Armstead called it, you're looking at a team that very well could dominate the AFC over the next 7 to 10 years. These are all young players. Harrison is 27. Manning is 23. James is 21. It's just a matter of getting them all under contract.
Don't forget the skill position, the offensive line. They're all 4 years or less than that.
That's true. And James is tripped up. Hollis Thomas will be given credit for the tackle on that play. A loss of 2 as we come up on 6 minutes to play until halftime.
And everybody talks about this team. They talk about the three-headed monster, as you mentioned, in Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, and Marvin Harrison. Don't forget how important the tight end to Jim Mora's offense is. Ken Dilger's injured today. He's out with a concussion, but Marcus Pollard has had an outstanding season. He's their deep threat as a tight end. They move him around. They put him in the backfield as a fullback. On a line of scrimmage, he's a blocker, but he can stretch the defense and get down the middle of the field.
Pollard's in the 2nd year of a 3-year contract. Manning working out of the shotgun on 3rd and 9 in a rare sack. Manning had to eat it as Mike Mamula broke through. Greg Jefferson came over to help finish off Manning. But this is something new. Indianapolis will punt.
You look at the offensive line. Tarek Glenn, the left tackle, just gets bull rushed by Mike Mamula, a much smaller player, pushes him in the backfield, comes right in front of him, and makes the sack on Peyton Manning. And that's what you can't have. You can't have a guy that's 40 pounds, 50 pounds smaller than you, pushing you in the backfield.
Just the 8th time that Manning has been sacked this year. A high punt from Hunter Smith. Rossum may have lost it in the sun. It bounces out of bounds. The sun just started to shine in that area of the field. Manning goes down, but Philadelphia is in a big hole. Colts 27, Eagles nothing with 5:09 to play in the first half. And Indianapolis looking for its 6th consecutive win. For Philadelphia, 5 possessions they'd like to forget about. Punt, punt, fumble, fumble, punt. And now a 1st and 10 from the 18 as Deuce Staley is trying to break loose. Got across the 20, up near the 25, and Mike Peterson making the tackle. The rookie out of Florida, 2nd-round draft pick.
9 for Philadelphia to have any chance in this game. They've got to get the ball to Deuce Staley. They've got to put it in his hands. He's a powerful runner, leads the NFC in rushing. He keeps this team in any game throughout the season. He's got to have the football and a steady diet of it, and they haven't gotten him the ball early in this game enough.
Injured Philadelphia Eagle, and it's Charles Johnson, the wide receiver. He remains on the field at the 5:02 mark of the 2nd quarter, so we'll step aside, come back to the vet after these words. The medical staff for Philadelphia has been taking a look at both legs with Charles Johnson on his back. They started on the right leg. They've now moved over to the left leg.
And what usually happens is they test your knee on the football field. They want to test the strength of one knee against the other knee and see if the knee is very loose, and you have to test one knee versus the other knee. And, Charles Johnson, you don't want this to happen. He's on the outside blocking right here, and he's throwing a pretty good block.
It was a running play for Deuce Staley. Turner came through the hole initially, and he got pushed backwards. You see on the right side of your screen where he got twisted around a bit, and you couldn't tell if the legs just got caught underneath. That's the way that it looks.
Well, he gets rolled up on, but more importantly, watch right here. Watch the bottom of his legs where the pile just rolls up on the back of his knees.
Oh, yeah. The left leg is underneath the pile, and his back was thrown all the way backwards on top of the pile. The medical staff remains on the field. Good sign Johnson is at least going to be able to get up with the help of the staff, and it appears to be more the left leg. These fans will give him a hand.
The medical staff will take their time. They're going to treat this seriously as a precaution just to make sure. But as an ex-player, I'll tell you what, when the turf grabs you like that and you're rolled up upon it, it's not a pretty sight. And when you're helped off the football field, you just want to be sure and make sure that that knee is stable.
And I'm not saying that there was any connection whatsoever, but you mentioned the turf, and
it's the worst. And I'll say it right out. It's the worst in the NFL. I played 13 years in the National Football League. It's the same turf. It's a baseball field, football field / combination facility. And the problem is there's so many nicks in the turf and grooves in the turf when they patch the field together that when you run on the football field, your cleats get caught in the turf and you just can't run. And a lot of players are injured just running across the football field from side to side.
Not speculating that the turf was the problem there, but the resume speaks for itself. This turf has been involved in a lot of terrible plays throughout the years. On 2nd and 3, here's Deuce Staley. Staley getting to the outside, stiff arms 2 tacklers, and is forced out of bounds at the 38-yard line. A first down for Philadelphia, and sarcastic cheers from these Eagles fans. 13 first downs for the Colts, first one for Philly. Keep it on the ground for Staley, running over tacklers as he's able to accelerate through the hole and come very close to another first down. Michael Barber, the middle linebacker, making the tackle. Appears to be a 9-yard gain, just shy of moving the chains. Deuce Staley, we asked him, how'd you get the name? He said, well, pretty simple. I was the second born.
I thought that was great.
Enough said.
But look at Deuce Staley, first 1,000-yard rushing season last year. Talking to Cornelius Bennett for the defense of the Indianapolis Colts, he said without Deuce Staley, this team would be 0-9 right now because he's the heart and soul of this offense.
On 2nd and 1, Luther Broughton, the tight end, in motion. And Staley has another first down for Philadelphia as he gets ahead to the 45-yard line. and into Colts territory. You know, thinking about it last week, Mark, Indianapolis had the big lead on the Giants, and in that second half, especially fourth quarter, Giants were able to come back when teams go into that prevent defense, which often prevents you from stopping other teams.
Prevents you from winning.
Yeah, well, they were fortunate to win the game last week. Giants were driving and fumbled the football, but I'm sure Philadelphia has that in the back of their mind, that this defense, they were susceptible late in that game after the Colts had gotten the big lead. Cecil Martin now in the game. It's Staley again. This has been all Staley on this drive. The Colts defense, they know what's coming. They still can't stop him. 5 straight running plays for the man they call Deuce.
And if you look at this offense, they're just going to start manhandling the front of the Indianapolis Colts. They've made their mind up offensively, the Philadelphia Eagles, that they're going to run the ball. They're going to stick the ball down the heart of the defense and see if they can stop us. They can't get anything going with their quarterback, Donovan McNabb, so let's run the football. That's what we do best offensively. Let's do what we do best.
After the 8-yard gain, Staley goes to the sideline, and Eric Bieniemy gets the call. Looks to be enough for the first down. Michael Barber, first man to get there. But Philadelphia is moving the football on the ground.
Indianapolis is playing soft on defense. That's why the Philadelphia Eagles are able to pick up yards on first, second, and third down by running the ball. They don't have their 8th man in the box.
Final play as we hit the 2-minute warning. Indianapolis with a 27-0 lead. Philadelphia, though, finally moving the football. Indianapolis pitching the shutout so far, thanks in large part to the 3-headed monster. And the Colts defense as well, who have made a couple of big plays, and they've gotten in the face of Donovan McNabb. 2-minute warning, though, and Philadelphia is looking for its first points of the afternoon. It's 27-0 Colts. And the Eagles with a 1st and 10 at the Indy 34. Staley is back on the field after 5 straight carries. In motion, Nate Brown, who steps in for Charles Johnson. Here's Staley. He got cut down low, or that would have been a huge gainer. He picked up 5 on the play. And Mike Peterson made the stop. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. Great schedule this week in the NFL. That's all coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. Timeout taken. Eagles call the timeout with 1:47 to play until halftime. Second and 5 from the 29 for Philadelphia. Brown in motion. McNabb on a bootleg. In some trouble again, but able to dump it off to Cecil Martin, the rookie. And Martin trying to remain on his feet as he's brought down right around the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss of 1, depending upon where they spot it. Mike Peterson making the tackle in the open field.
But that's a play that hasn't been very effective for Philadelphia. It's a first completion. The only reason why it's complete is because of the athleticism of Donovan McNabb. But the Indianapolis Colts defense, the ends have done a great job coming up the field. Mark Thomas and Chad Bratsky of containing that boot.
Do you think Philadelphia, though, got away from their game plan after going down as big as they had deficit-wise, and maybe they started throwing the football or attempting to throw it more, and they shied away from the run?
I think they had to. They scripted their first 15 plays, and they weren't effective, so I think Andy Reid's just trashed that and said, hey, let's go back to what we can do best against this defense.
A deep drop, and it's incomplete. Deuce Staley, the intended receiver. Jason Belzer in on the coverage. Now the Philadelphia Eagles now facing a 4th and 6. This would be a 48-yard field goal attempt. And keep in mind, Norm Johnson is out because of back spasms. David Akers is a player that is known more for the bigger leg, younger player, 24 years old. Johnson is 39. Johnson is 1 point shy of passing Nick Lowry for 4th place on the NFL's all-time scoring list. He will not get that opportunity today. From 48 yards away, David Akers able to bury the field goal. And Philadelphia has some points before halftime.
He has a cannon of a leg. That could have gone 65 yards. That one powering through the top of the goalpost. But Andy Reid's got some points on the board.
Akers has the longest field goal in the NFC this year of 53 yards in his first year out of Louisville. Now Jim Mora. he's not just coaching today. I think he is coaching for December and coaching for January. This team is up 27-0, and after a couple of mistakes, this is what Mora has done on the sidelines. He laced into Edgerrin James, but at the end here, he was able to console him at the end and say, you'll get him next time. And then he got in the face of Tarek Glenn.
Well, the key to this is he doesn't want this team to become complacent. He doesn't want them to think they're better than they are. And he understands that it's a long game in the NFL. Teams can come back from 3 touchdown deficits. He's letting his team know that, hey, we're playing for down the road. I'm not going to let you get away with, hey, we're going to let a team come back and score a couple of touchdowns, because a good team will come back. We have to learn how to finish.
And we asked him. We said, Coach, are they talking playoffs, the players? He said, not around me.
Yeah, and he was adamant about that.
Akers will kick it off. The left-footed kicker. End over end. Terrence Wilkins catches it in stride at the 13, hurdling one tackler, and then he gets bottled up at the 30 by Damon Moore. 17-yard return for Wilkins. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the NASDAQ halftime report. Back to New York we'll go, and Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the happenings around the NFL in Week 11 of the regular season. Scores and highlights, much, much more. Coming up, the NASDAQ halftime report. Still 1:22 to play here in the first half. For the Colts, Manning, James, and Harrison all doing their part, all producing touchdowns. First and 10 from the 30. Manning under a rush. Finds Edgerrin James, who's caught from behind. Good tackle by Ike Reese, who's known more for his special teams play, but because of some injuries to the linebacking core, Reese is getting some more opportunities. They'll go with a no-huddle attack as we approach 1 minute to play in the second quarter. Here comes the blitz. Handoff, James. Stutter step. James trying to accelerate and force himself forward to the 37, right around the 38. We'll call it a gain of 5. Mike Mamula combining with Greg Jefferson on the tackle.
This Colts offense, just no letting up. They're up by 24 points and still trying to get more.
On a 3rd and 2, 35 seconds left. Manning wants to throw it. He does. Finds a seam and finds Marvin Harrison, turning this one into a big gainer and brought down at the 40. Clock continues to move with 24 seconds left, and now it stops after the 22-yard pickup. The timeout has been called by Indy. They can get more points before they go to the locker room.
For the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles, they want to keep Marvin Harrison in front of him, and Troy Vincent has him one-on-one. They need to give him help, because if you're going to keep him in front of him, he'll just run the slant, catch the ball across the middle. Now you've got to play catch-up. Now it's a race. Troy Vincent's not going to be able to get there. He needs help from Damon Moore to make the tackle, but if you're going to give him that much of a cushion in front, Marvin Harrison's going to catch the ball and take off with it. He will not go down in the middle. He's always going to take extra yards after the catch. His 4th reception of the day, 49 yards.
Marvin Harrison spent 1 season at Syracuse playing with Donovan McNabb, and something we'll talk about in the second half of action. Those two formed a friendship, and they talk on the phone during the season.
And what I thought was interesting, not only Marvin talks to him, but Peyton Manning gets on the phone and talks to him also.
We'll bring you back to the college days. McNabb to Harrison. McNabb was a redshirt freshman. Harrison was a senior. And both have made it to the next level, the NFL. 27-3, Indianapolis on a 1st and 10 from the 40. Manning under pressure, avoiding it. Manning throwing, floating it to the end zone. Incomplete. Isaac Jones, the intended receiver. And Brian Dawkins had the coverage, and that is Peyton Manning avoiding a sack and then almost creating a touchdown. Greg Jefferson applied the pressure in the pocket.
And almost a big play at the end. Going over the top is Isaac Jones, and Peyton Manning just lays the ball out there perfectly for his wide receiver to have a chance at it, but pressure, Adam Meadows just gets pressure over Greg Jefferson. Both tackles, Tarek Glenn, Adam Meadows, have let pressure come from the defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles on Peyton Manning tonight.
It's Indianapolis with a 24-point lead, and they are not letting up. On a 2nd and 10 from the 40. Manning finds James. Cutting it back, James is still on his feet. Edgerrin James, incredible. Brought down inside the 20, but time has run out. If James went down initially, And maybe there would have been time on the clock to attempt a field goal. They were calling the timeout, and it looks like the officials are going to give it to them and put 1 second back on the clock.
Timeout, Indianapolis, number 3.
So Johnny Greer gives the timeout to Indy. The coaching staff was beside themselves that the players, right after the play ended, didn't pop up right away and call that timeout. You've got to know how much time is left. And these are all areas that Jim Mora wants to work on because, yeah, this is a 27-3 game, but it might come into play in December or January where there's a lot more on the line.
Absolutely. But here's an area where your quarterback, Peyton Manning, you've got to be next to the official, and you've got to say, as soon as he goes down, I want a timeout. I don't care what time's left on the clock, I've got a timeout. That's what happened here. Adrian James goes down, they get up, they call the timeout, they get another shot as a field goal. That's just smart quarterbacking. Second year in the NFL, this guy's playing like a 10-year veteran. Everybody says it, but I mean, everything about the game, he understands.
Mike Vanderjagt. He has 2 field goals already today. 12 straight. He's been on a hot stretch. 35-yard attempt, and the Colts have more points put on the board as we hit halftime. First half complete here at the Vet. 30-3 Indianapolis. The NASDAQ halftime report is coming up after this word from your local station. Halftime here in Philadelphia, the Indianapolis Colts with a 30-3 lead on the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome back, everybody. Getting you ready for second half action. Ian Eagle along with Mark May. It used to be a chore for the Indianapolis Colts to try to get wins on the road. That's just not the case anymore. This team is good at home, good on the road, good overall.
And everybody talks about the players, the three-headed monster on offense, Adrian James, Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning, but I think a lot of the credit has to go to Jim Mora, their head coach, and a lot of people don't talk about that. One, how he's kept this team together and made these guys win on the road.
Offensively, we're not breaking any news. This Indianapolis team probably as good as anybody in the NFL. Defensively, they are improving. Now, the one thing to keep an eye on, though, last week against the Giants, they had the big lead, and the defense let up a bit. They're going to try to avoid that today against Philly.
But I think that was a lesson to be learned for this team. On the road in a hostile environment, have the game get closer at the end of the game, and have the defense finally play well at the end of the game to help the team win. They learned a lesson. I think Jim Morris pointed it out, and he's been on this team on the sidelines, in their face physically, and getting into their face and telling them, hey, we want to win. We want to win impressively. Don't let this team back in the football game.
Look at the halftime numbers, all Indianapolis, starting with the score and then just go right down the line. 2 turnovers led to more points for the Colts. And we are underway in the second half of action. On the return, Allen Rossum. And Rossum can't quite get to the 30-yard line. And Philadelphia will have the first possession of the third quarter as Tony Blevins makes the tackle on special teams. Tough first half for Donovan McNabb. You know as a rookie quarterback that opposing defenses are going to just come after you, play in and play out. And we talked to Cornelius Bennett about that. He's a veteran. Said, hey, are you guys looking for fresh blood here? Donovan McNabb. He said, well, you know, we know that he's like Flutie. He can get out and run a little bit, but we're going to give him something to think about. There's no doubt about it.
And they gave him some different coverages to look at, a couple of blitzes to put pressure on him. And Cornelius Bennett knows that with a young quarterback like this, if you hit him a few times early, he's always thinking about the hit. Donovan McNabb's been hit early and often in this game.
On a 1st and 10, just shy of the 30-yard line. McNabb throwing a sideline route on first down, and it's caught by Torrance Small. The former Colt comes up with a 12-yard reception. And his first catch of the day.
Good protection and a great route on the outside, and this is the only way that the Eagles are going to get into this game, throwing the ball on first down, catching the defense off balance, and running precise routes. In a West Coast offense, you have to run precise routes.
Deuce Staley in there along with Eric Bieniemy. The pony package, as Andy Reid describes it. Give to Staley. On first down, Staley making Colts miss, as he is able to juke his way ahead to the 48-yard line. A pickup of 6. Chad Bratsky and Cornelius Bennett making the stop, setting up 2nd and 4.
And what they want to do in their pony package, go in with 2 backs in the backfield, split one out, have him run out in motion, and open up the defense. Spread the defense out where they can run the ball and give Deuce Staley more opportunities and more holes to hit on the defense. And that's what Andy Reid wants to do with this. And they can also throw out of this package. It all depends how many defenders stay in the box.
12 carries, 68 yards for Staley, closing in on his second consecutive 1,000-yard season, and Staley gets the call again. As he crosses midfield, Cornelius Bennett will be given credit for the tackle. It's short of a first down.
There's a guy that's been around for almost ever in the NFL, Cornelius Bennett. Super Bowls, he's been to 5. Pro Bowls, he's been to 5. And, you know, we talked to him the other day. He said, hey, I'm the good luck charm for any team that has me on this team. The Buffalo Bills, I'm there. We go to the Super Bowl, go to Atlanta for a couple of years. I'm at the Super Bowl. Now I'm here at Indy. We've turned things around. Maybe we're going to a Super Bowl again.
On a 3rd and 1 from the 49. 2 tight end set, Weaver and Broughton. Throwing. And it was deflected. There was a hit on the sideline, and the Eagles fans wanted interference, but because of the deflection, there will be no penalty. May Brown, the intended receiver. Jeff Burris had him one-on-one.
There's no infraction on the play for pass interference. The pass was tipped.
And that man again, Cornelius Bennett, in on the rush.
He just seems to come up with big play after big play. He's a student of the game. He's played for 13 years in the NFL. He knows when the quarterback's about ready to release the ball, so he doesn't have to crash into an offensive protector. He knows when to jump and come up with a big play. Last week against the Giants, came up with a big play towards the end of the game, stripping a running back of the football. He says it comes naturally for him now at this time of his career.
Flag comes down. A look at the play clock, and it reads 0. Johnny Greer will have a chat with Scott Green, the back judge.
Because of the discussion on the field, please reset the play clock. There is no infraction.
So a reset on the play clock, and the line of scrimmage will remain the 49-yard line. Landeta averaging just under 40 yards per punt in this game. On the season, though, over 43 yards per punt. This is the 70th punt of the season for Landeta. Spiraling kick. Wilkins able to bring it in as he got across the 20-yard line, and line of scrimmage will be right at the 20. Indianapolis up big early 3rd. Colts are riding a 5-game winning streak. 3 straight wins on the road. We're going to make it 4 in a row and 6 in a row overall. Off the play fake. Manning throwing long in separation. Terrence Wilkins. He's gone. Touchdown, Colts. 80 yards through the air. Everything Indianapolis touches turns to gold today.
And just like that, if the defensive secondary for the Eagles, listen to Troy Vincent. Don't look at the run. Look at the wide receiver. But on the outside, Terrence Wilkins does a great job. And you see Bobby Taylor in the back. Looking in the backfield, you can't do that. You have to watch the wide receiver. But it's the fake by Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning carries out the fakes on runs. You have to respect it. But carrying them out on the pass play and the play-action pass, that's what really stymies defenses.
The longest pass completion of Peyton Manning's young career, and obviously the longest for Terrence Wilkins. Mike Vanderjagt, the extra point. The Indianapolis Colts, did they even have to make a statement? They are anyway. 3 catches, 101 yards, including an 80-yarder and a touchdown for Terrence Wilkins. Indianapolis 37, Philadelphia 3, and the Colts will kick it off at the 12:55 mark, 3rd quarter. Danny Kite. Caught by Allen Rossum from the 10. Rossum straight down the middle and across the 35-yard line. Bertrand Berry making the tackle. Well, Terrence Wilkins, he has done a little bit of everything this season. Against Miami, brought a kickoff back for a touchdown. Want a punt return for a score? We'll give it to you. Colts and Giants last week. He had a fumble return for a score earlier this season, and of course, touchdown receptions. The only Colt to ever score in those 4 ways in one season.
He's been incredible for this offense. He's really stepped it up since training camp, and he's a perfect complement to Marvin Harrison on the other side. When you roll coverage to Marvin Harrison and double team him, Terrence Wilkins finds a way to get open and make plays.
1st and 10 from the 35 for Philadelphia. Bieniemy comes out as a receiver. Staley is the running back. A floater is caught. Luther Broughton, the tight end, able to haul it in Indianapolis territory. And it's good for 19 yards. Normally, Mark, this is a conversation we would have in the 4th quarter. But do you think Indianapolis is running up the score here? Are they out of line, leading at 37-3?
Well, I don't think they're out of line at this point. There are 2 keys in this. One, you don't ever want your team to let up because you don't know what's going to happen in the 4th quarter. 2, in the back of Jim Moore's mind, he's told us before that a 10-6 team may not make it to the playoffs. And if it comes down to a tiebreak, it could come down to points. And I want to make sure we have enough points. So they're going to put points on the board.
And things are certainly tight in the AFC East on a 1st and 10.
Gone.
Throwing again, timing pattern, and it was knocked away at the last moment by Poole. Small was open down the sideline, and McNabb on a timing pattern could not quite get it there. It stayed up a little bit too long.
And everyone talks about the defensive front and the linebackers. Enough people aren't talking about Tyrone Poole and Jeff Burris. Last year, both of these players were criticized because of their play. They didn't have a pass rush last year. They finally got a pass rush, and now these players are playing up to pro full potential.
Line of scrimmage is the 47, and now a 2nd and 10 for Philly. Damian Douglas is in as a 3rd receiver. Injury earlier to Charles Johnson. Handoff. Here's Staley. Caught from behind initially. He was able to squeeze his way forward. Flags are down as he got back to the line of scrimmage. Chad Bratsky, first man there as he cut him down low. Johnny Greer will fill us in after he gets the exact word of the infraction. Against Philadelphia, the hold.
Andy Reid's just got to be beside himself. Nothing goes right for this team. If they make a play, it's a penalty. If the ball's thrown to a wide receiver.
Holding, 72, offense, still 2nd down.
That's Trey Thomas, and that's the 2nd time that Thomas has been called on a penalty. A 2nd-year pro out of Florida State. 6th penalty for Philadelphia.
Getting back to what I was saying, if they throw the ball to a wide receiver, they drop it. If they hand it to the running back, that's the only thing that's worked for them offensively is giving the ball to Deuce Staley and relying on the offensive line to make a hole and get him to get some positive yardage because the passing game just isn't there.
Staley has 13 carries, 71 yards. Philadelphia back in its own territory now on a 2nd and 20 from the 43. Here's McNabb. Stepping up, throwing, wide open on the sideline is Torrance Small. And he brings it in at the 47. Things are very tight in the AFC East. Miami at 7-2 along with Indianapolis. Buffalo has played one more game. New England in the dogfight, and the Jets are trying to climb out of the cellar at 3-6. This is 3rd and 10, 47-yard line. McNabb over the middle, and it should have been picked off by Cota. He knows it. Incomplete. The Eagles will punt on 4th and long.
I think if you look at Donovan McNabb, he's got all the tools. Obviously, he was drafted early in the draft, but he needs a good support staff around him. At least when Peyton Manning came into the Indianapolis Colts, they already had a solid offensive line built. They had Marvin Harrison there. They didn't have those components here for Donovan McNabb. I think that's the telling tale. When you look at both of these teams and the way they try to change their teams and win football games, that's the bottom line.
Landeta with the punt, takes a bounce inside the 5, but couldn't be saved. Allen Rossum had a chance at it, but he was in no man's land. It's been that kind of day for the Eagles. 37-3 Indy. Let's give you the injury update for Philadelphia. Charles Johnson, left knee. Alex Van Dyke, elbow. Kevin Turner, neck. Mark Wheeler, neck. And James Darling, an ankle. All are out for second half action. Colts take over on a 1st and 10 from their own 20. And flags come down. Tarek Glenn has been matched up with Mike Mamula on the left side of the offensive line. That's where the infraction may have occurred.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 91. Still 1st down.
It was the man next to Mamula, Steve Martin, the former Colt, who was released last year by this Indianapolis team. So 1st and 5 from the 25. Harrison goes in motion. Eagles crowding the line. Here's James getting the call. James with a flag down. Flags flying from every which direction. Troy Vincent looked like he grabbed onto that face mask. There was a penalty prior to the collision on the sideline.
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen that many flags since the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Played 13 years in the NFL. I've never seen that many flags on one play.
Personal foul, face mask, number 23, defense. Holding, number 74.
Good on the road.
James gave him one heck of a stiff arm. He rattled his cage, knocked his helmet back. That's powerful.
So we'll do it again on a 1st and 5. Long count for Manning. Here's James. Moving through the hole and getting a first down for Indianapolis ahead to the 31. Pickup of 7. And Edgerrin James just keeps piling on the numbers. 20 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the man that went ahead of Ricky Williams in the 1999 draft. Now, Williams entered the picture in Indianapolis and also entered the picture here in Philadelphia. Eagles fans wanted Ricky Williams in the 1st round, and Donovan McNabb got booed like you wouldn't believe on draft day in New York. We'll talk about that coming up. It's a career high for Edgerrin James. And with each carry, he's going to set a new career high. Here's James. Just accelerates and fires through the hole. He got 12 yards on that running play, and it doesn't even look like he's exerting much energy. Got going, and then at the end of the play, Troy Vincent gets a freebie with a face mask.
For Troy Vincent, he's just hanging on. Gave him one heck of a stiff arm. He rattled his cage, knocked.
On pickup of 7. And Edgerrin James just keeps piling on the numbers. 20 carries, 135 yards, 2 touchdowns. For the man that went ahead of Ricky Williams in the 1999 draft. Now, Williams entered the picture in Indianapolis and also entered the picture here in Philadelphia. Eagles fans wanted Ricky Williams in the 1st round, and Donovan McNabb got booed like you wouldn't believe on draft day in New York. We'll talk about that coming up. It's a career high for Edgerrin James. And with each carry, he's going to set a new career high. Here's James. Eagles fans wanted Ricky Williams in the 1st round. Around 700, and the touchdowns is the key. The Heisman Trophy winner has not scored an NFL rushing touchdown yet. So Edgerrin James over 1,000 yards in his rookie campaign. Earlier, Marvin Harrison went over 1,000. First time in his career. Manning throwing a low ball, and good concentration by Harrison to bring it in. 11 yards through the air. Marvin Harrison, a 3-time Maxwell Club Award winner, is Philadelphia's top high school player out of Roman Catholic High School. He makes the catch and another first down. 1st and 10 from the Philadelphia 40. Colts continue to move the football with ease. Eagles came on a rush. Play action. Manning throwing it. Sideline. Pollard is open. Off his fingertip.
Because this is easy pickings for him. If he takes his time, he drops that ball in there, it's a touchdown for Marcus Pollard. But he didn't get set after the play action fake. And right here he is. He's not set. See, he just bounced as soon as he went back because he saw him open. He said, hey, I'm open. I got to get him the ball. And if all he does is take one step back, step up in the pocket, and just drop the ball in there, it's another touchdown.
14 of 22 throwing the football, 215 yards and 2 scores for Peyton Manning, including an 80-yarder to Terrence Wilkins. And it looks like the play clock hit 0.
Offense. Still 2nd down.
You know, one thing about Indianapolis, they're 7-2, and you might say, well, they played an easy schedule and they're just taking care of lesser competition. But the bottom line is 6 of their last 8 foes either held or were tied for their respective
Definitely battle-tested. When you talk about the playoffs, you talk about the Colts, and they played some very, very tough competition.
They spread the field, Manning throwing, and it very well should have been intercepted by Jeremiah Trotter. Second year out of Stephen F. Austin. Marcus Pollard, the intended receiver, and Trotter had a good look at it right over the middle. Now a 3rd and 15 from the 45, and again Manning will work out of the shotgun. Spread the field with Pollard in motion. 4 receivers. Here's Manning. Good protection. Pump fake. Throws the long ball. Open again. And incomplete. It was Wilkins who did have space between him and the defensive backs. Damon Moore was there defensively, the backup strong safety. But he just couldn't quite haul it in.
What I really like about this offense and Tom Moore's offense, it's a stretch offense. It's a go-for-the-throat offense, and every wide receiver tries to get into the end zone every time there's a pass play. If it's 3rd and 6, they don't worry about running 7 yards. They'll run 15, 18, 20 yards trying to stretch the defense on every play.
A high punt for Hunter Smith. It'll take a bounce at the 5, rolling towards the goal line, and it looked like it curled its way in. It did. It's a touchback. 45-yard punt. Eagles will have it from the 20. It's 37-3, Indianapolis. Back in Philadelphia, Indianapolis once again feasting on an NFC Eastern Divisional foe. The Colts already have victories over Dallas and the Giants this season. They've got Washington coming up on the schedule on December the 19th. On a 1st and 10 from the 20, McNabb standing tall in the pocket and throwing too high. He was looking for Chad Lewis, who was signed on earlier this week, claimed off of waivers. A former Eagle who is now back with his former team after a brief stint with St. Louis. Change on the offensive line. David Diaz-Infante has checked in at right guard, replacing the old-timer, Jeff Dellenbach, so old that he actually played against his head coach, Andy Reid, in college when Dellenbach was at Wisconsin and Reid was at BYU.
That's old.
You never played against the Colts, did you?
No.
Now, you did play here as McNabb fumbles the snap. Indianapolis jumps on it. 3rd turnover. And this has been a long afternoon for the rookie Donovan McNabb. Cornelius Bennett with a fumble recovery. His 3rd of the season.
And when things go bad, they go bad. But they shouldn't go this bad for the Philadelphia Eagles. They haven't been able to move the ball offensively, but when it gets down to a center-quarterback exchange, that's basic. You work on that a million times from training camp onto the season. That should never happen. And right now, the wheels have definitely come off for this team. If you can't get the quarterback snap, obviously you can't run a play. But Donovan McNabb right now, he's got to sit back. His coaches should be talking to him on the sideline, settling him down because he's making rookie mistakes. He is a rookie, but they've got to settle him down so he can concentrate on the fundamentals and basics of football.
A 1st and 10 now for the Colts from the 17. Here's Manning, pump fake, throwing to the sideline, caught. Touchdown, Edgerrin James. And I can't even say they're pouring it on. Philadelphia is handing them this field position.
Not only that, for offensively for the Indianapolis Colts, it's like a 7-on-7 drill, practice drill right now. You know, the Eagles right now, they're beat up on both sides of the ball. They've got their 2nd and 3rd team in. The Indianapolis Colts at this point, they're just pecking away and just carving up this defense. And Edgerrin James out of the backfield. He's been phenomenal since week 4 or 5 in the NFL. He's really turned it on, catching his passes out of the backfield. And he runs the deep routes as well as any wide receiver. And that's what you get with an Edgerrin James, the total package, running the ball, blocking, and catching the ball down.
You said total package. Total yardage, 199 for James as Vanderjagt adds the extra point. That's a rookie with a smile on his face. Edgerrin James sporting the dreadlocks. Opposing defenses are dreading the sight of him when he steps in onto the field, as the Colts have just completely blown out the Philadelphia Eagles today. Allen Rossum on the return as he gets out to the 25-yard line. Scott Green making the tackle after the 13-yard return on special teams. Donovan McNabb won his first start in the NFL. He will drop to 1-1 today, and he has been taught a lesson by this Colts defense.
And they're all rookie mistakes. He's not getting help from the players around him. Not getting good pass protection on either of these plays. This is a play where he needs to read the defense better. That sack from Jason Belzer, the safety, that's his man.
And the latest, mishandling the snap.
And that's unacceptable. I mean, that's things that Pop Warner kids work on every day. It doesn't happen very often.
Quick throw to the sideline to Torrance Small, trying to create after the catch. And the former Colt gets out across the 35-yard line, and it appears to be enough for a first down. They will give him 11 yards. We asked Torrance about the comparison. Played with Peyton Manning last year and playing with Donovan McNabb this season.
Peyton throws a steadier ball. Donovan McNabb throws a harder ball. It gets you a lot quicker out of your breaks, but the difference between them is last year Peyton Manning took his knocks early. At the end of the season, he really started picking up defenses and starting understanding defenses and secondaries and coverages. He said Donovan McNabb just has to play. Doesn't have the playing time. He needs the experience.
Also said this offense is a lot tougher than Indianapolis is to grasp. As Deuce Staley, second effort to remain on his feet. And he gained 4 on first down. Tony Blevins making the tackle. Philadelphia Eagles, the miscues today. They've allowed 3 sacks, 3 turnovers, and keep in mind they came in +1 on the plus-minus turnover ratio. A couple of drop passes, penalties, 7 of them. And the points off of those turnovers, Indianapolis has taken advantage of the Philadelphia mistakes.
Not only that, Ian, they get help from their defense. They're one of the best at coming up with turnovers defensively, and the way that Indianapolis protects the ball, they're not going to give an opportunity to get turnovers, and that's a key in this football game. They haven't had good field possession and no turnovers.
25 takeaways in 1999. That leads the NFC. McNabb in trouble again.
Jailbreak.
Mark Thomas. They came from all angles. And that is the 4th Indy sack, and you can tell McNabb is getting very frustrated.
They should, and he's not getting any help. You know, it's bad enough that nobody's catching passes. Deuce Staley is the only thing you have as a weapon on offense. This is a jailbreak. You got to block somebody. He sees white jerseys in front of him. They're coming from every angle. He's got no place to go. He's corralled. He has to go down. That's not fair for a young quarterback. It's not fair for any quarterback in the NFL. Protect your quarterback as your most valuable asset offensively.
Jermaine Mayberry got the start at right tackle today, and Mark Thomas, who got the start for Sean King after being suspended by the team. Thomas got around him like he was standing still. A timeout taken by Philadelphia. This Philadelphia team entered action today at 3-7, and look at the losses. 4 of the 7 losses came right down to the wire. Arizona, 25-24 loss. The Giants, 16-15 against Miami. They missed a game-tying field goal at the end, and that second Giant game, it was overtime, and it was one of those fluke endings with Michael Strahan coming away with the interception return, and he scampered all the way down the field for the touchdown. So Andy Reid, up until today, had things headed in the right direction, and he liked his team's effort. He felt they were improving week in and week out, but they're going to get some headaches watching the film on this one tomorrow.
They definitely are. And he said his team has played hard. There's only been one other game, the Carolina game, where they didn't play well. And this is one of those games where Indianapolis, everything that can go right for Indy has gone right to them.
On 3rd and long, McNabb throwing. He waited for his receiver, Staley. He got twirled down. Shy of the 40-yard line, Ratcliffe Thomas, the backup linebacker, made the tackle after a 6-yard pass play. And the Eagles are going to punt once again.
Donovan McNabb got tattooed on that last play. They've got to find a way. Leave the tight ends in. Protect this young quarterback. At least let him have an opportunity to get through the game.
A number of great rivalries today around the NFL. You can check it out on NFL.com. Spotlighting the most memorable moments in the history of these matchups. Again, Landeta couldn't handle the snap, but he gets this one off. On a bounce. Here's Wilkins. Attempted to accelerate, but Philadelphia on special teams were able to handle it.
Not only that, you can never count the Bills out. Even being down by 10 points at this point in the game with Duck to be a quarterback.
On a handoff, Keith Elias getting the call, and it's monumental. The first running back on this roster other than Edgerrin James to get a carry. And it's Elias moving ahead to the 35-yard line for a pickup of 8. Keith Elias didn't know when he was finally going to get an opportunity.
And it shocked the defense. They're looking around for number 32 in the backfield. They say, there's no 32, no Edgerrin James. It's got to be a pass by Manning. But now the question is, how long is Manning going to stay in the game? He should be out of this game. He should be on the sidelines fairly soon.
So Elias got the call on a 2nd and 2 now. They'll stick with Elias. Trying to hurdle his way up the middle. Former New York Giant. He's played against these Philadelphia Eagles before. He needed 2 yards. We'll see where they spot the football. Steve Martin, the former Colt, made the tackle. So we assume that's it for Edgerrin James today. 22 carries, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown.
Wow. Too valuable an asset to have him in at this point of the game on the turf here at Veterans Stadium. It's the worst in the NFL. We talked about that before, but now you're given an opportunity when he needs a break sometime during the season. You bring in a Keith Elias. He needs to practice this offense at game speed.
I think another question that's going to come up, they came up just inches from that first down, is will Peyton Manning be pulled in this game? That would be the first time in his career where he has not taken the snap for his team.
I think it's a pride thing with Peyton Manning. He wants to take every snap. But I believe in this game, this is a game where get him out of there. Hey, you're going into the fourth quarter. You've got a 41-point lead. You've got the best quarterback right now in the NFL. And I believe he's playing as the best quarterback in the NFL. Let's get him out of there. Let him watch from the sideline.
Steve Walsh is the backup quarterback. Maybe the easiest job in the NFL right now, backing up Peyton Manning. Moving ahead for a first down is Elias. Out of Princeton, an Ivy Leaguer that made it to the NFL, an aspiring writer. He has wrote a couple of screenplays. So Elias getting his opportunity. Will Walsh get his chance? There's still 2:38 left in the third quarter, and Walsh just...
You ever notice the backup quarterback in these situations? He starts getting farther and farther away from the head coach because he really doesn't want to. Let's let Peyton finish the game. I'm in no hurry to get in there. If you need me, let me know.
Oh, I got to believe he wants to get in there.
Of course, but here's the situation. You've got the hottest quarterback in the league, and if he doesn't want to come out, he's not coming out.
On a draw play for Elias. Up around the 43-yard line. Picked up a couple. Thomas and Brandon Whiting making the stop on the play.
And Walsh and Peyton Manning are very close friends. They watch the game tapes of the television broadcast every week, and they do that at the stadium. They don't do it at home. They spend a couple hours every week. Hey, let's watch the game tape. We want to see the different angles that they use because it's kind of boring when you watch films as a player because there's no highlights, there's no commercials, there's no music, you don't have the action and the drama. And it's a lot of fun to watch it that way, but they break the film down, both of them, every week.
Now, why don't they go home to watch it?
Because Peyton Manning, believe it or not, does not have a beta machine at home in his apartment.
Are you kidding?
That's incredible. A beta machine. I was saying, now, Peyton Manning, if I put this on there, there's probably every appliance store in the world is going to call you about this.
Absolutely.
I enjoy being around the facility. I can get all the information I want there. And sometimes I don't like to take it home. I can leave it at work, leave my work at work.
There's got to be a local audio video store in the Indianapolis area right now saying,
we're calling Peyton.
We got to get him a beta machine for his house.
But that's just Peyton, and they call him the Wonder Kid, and he definitely is. His work ethic, and he's a perfect fit for this franchise. Bill Polian, the general manager, did an outstanding job on his choice of Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf, and everything's fallen into place for this franchise.
On a 3rd and 4 from the 46, Manning will throw it, and Elias took a shot. Had to get to the 50-yard line. Bobby Taylor made sure he didn't get there. It's shy of a first down. Clock winding down here in the third quarter. Well, you want to play in the NFL, get used to this.
Oh, my neck's a little sore as we speak.
The punt from Hunter Smith. Bearcat signal, takes a bounce. Makes an Indy roll out of bounds. Right around the 8-yard line. Only 14 seconds remain here in the third quarter. It has been all Indianapolis from the very start. McNabb. Short drop, quick throw to Torrance Small. Brought down right around the 14-yard line by Thomas Randolph, who had an interception against his former team last week, the New York Giants. That's an 8-yard gain, and that will be the final play of the third quarter. Colts 44, Eagles 3. We'll come back to Veterans Stadium after this message and a word from your... We start the fourth quarter, and I think we have our answer about Peyton Manning's future in this contest. Steve Walsh, backup quarterback, is taking snaps on the sideline, and safe bet that he will come in during the next offensive series for the Colts, and it would be the first time in Peyton Manning's career that he has not taken the snap for Indianapolis. He took all the snaps last year, only quarterback in the NFL to do so. He has taken all the snaps this year, only quarterback in the NFL to do so. And Steve Walsh getting ready. First, though, Philadelphia on a 2nd and 2, a handoff to Deuce Staley. He needed 2. He didn't get it. Had to get to the 17. In fact, he lost one. Brad Scioli and Larry Chester collaborating on the stop. Brings up 3rd and 3 from the 14. You know, one thing about Manning, the label on him has changed this season. He started out quarterback with the most potential, then best young quarterback in the NFL. I think there are a lot of people around the National Football League right now, Mark, that say, forget young, best quarterback in the NFL right now.
And I believe that. And he's operating at such a high efficiency level. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He protects the football. He throws the ball deep, and he guides his team to victory.
Luther Broughton, the tight end, has a first down, and you can tack some more on. Up to the 47-yard line as McNabb found him with the short pass, and then Broughton did the rest. Cota had a chance to bring him down, as did Billy Austin. It'll account for 33 yards.
And that's the biggest play for the Philadelphia Eagle offense of the day, by far, and it goes to their tight end. This just shows you how difficult it's been for Philadelphia to throw the ball vertically. They haven't been able to throw the ball downfield. They dump it to their tight end. He runs and gets extra yardage after the catch. That's the only play they've been able to make offensively.
So the football now in Colts territory at the 47. Second catch of the day for Broughton. On a 1st and 10 now for Philly. Motion man Jed Weaver. Here's McNabb throwing again underneath the coverage. And Nate Brown took a shot. His 2nd NFL reception. Tony Blevins made the stop. It's 5 yards through the air.
And that's the first time today that I've been able to watch Donovan McNabb look off on a pass. He looked to his left, turned around, and threw the ball to the right and completed it. 1, he's had time to do it. And this is the first time he's been able to sit back in the pocket and be able to do it. And 3, it helps him complete the pass downfield. If you look to your left, that's where the safety is going to flow to, and he turns to the right and completes the pass.
That's rookie to rookie. McNabb, first year out of Syracuse. Brown, first year out of North Carolina. On a 2nd and 5, they'll throw it again. This time a miscommunication. Brown was in the area. Chad Cota was there defensively as well, but this pass may have been intended for Jed Weaver. Donovan McNabb making his 2nd NFL start a week ago. 8 of 21, 60 yards, 49 yards rushing. They got a win. Today, 10 of 20, 113 yards. No rushing yards, but a number of turnovers and a number of mistakes that we've come to expect from a first-year quarterback. Peyton Manning went through it last year. Colts suffered through a 3-13 season. Colts are on the verge of improving to 8-2 this year. McNabb. Low throw, and it's Broughton again. Luther Broughton at the 39-yard line. And that's enough for a first down for the Eagles.
You might want to wonder why your number 1 quarterback, 2nd pick in the 1st round of the NFL, is doing it in a situation like this, down 41 points in the 4th quarter. He needs the experience. He needs to learn. Regardless if it's a preseason game, this is how you attack it. He's got to learn how to read defenses. He's got to learn how to get the flow of the game.
Funny you say that, because Peyton Manning told Donovan McNabb the same thing when they spoke on the phone about 3 weeks ago. McNabb throwing under a rush, and it's incomplete. Jed Weaver with flags coming down. Spencer Reed involved in the coverage.
Pass interference. 56, defense. First down.
It is Reed, 2nd year out of BYU, the 5th Colt penalty of the day.
Now, when you look at the Indianapolis Colts on defense and on offense, they're putting their 2nd teamers in. One, they're all young on the 2nd team on both sides of the ball. Get some experience on the 2nd team. And you see a lot of players that, some players are nicked up at this point of the season. They can get some rest. The guys like Cornelius Bennett, Bernard Whittington, and Ellis Johnson, they could be on the sidelines taking a breather every now and then.
McNabb in the pocket, guns one, and picked off. Intercepted by Ratcliffe Thomas. And another Philadelphia turnover, a flag down on the play, and the players have to be separated right around midfield. That was a clear telegraph by Donovan McNabb into double coverage. And it would be the 4th turnover of the day for this Philadelphia offense. But we'll see what the official's decision is with Johnny Greer manning this particular staff.
Personal foul, late hit, number 90 of the defensive team after the interception will penalize half the distance to goal line.
So Mark Thomas is called on the late hit. The interception will count. It took place after the turnover.
It's only going to cost him a half a yard on this, but at the end of the play, Donovan McNabb steps up, throws the ball. The ball is clearly intercepted by Ratcliffe Thomas. Nice play on the ball and turn on the ball, but at the end of the play, after it's intercepted,
the streak is over. 1,590 straight snaps for Peyton Manning. Steve Walsh comes in and takes over the offense. Handoff to Keith Elias. So it's Walsh in at quarterback, replacing Manning. Elias in at tailback, replacing Edgerrin James. And there's the number. Pretty incredible when you think about it. He took the first 1,590 snaps of his NFL career.
and that's got to be a record in the NFL, particularly at the quarterback position. The way the zone blitz has really come alive in the NFL over the last 3 years. Quarterbacks are getting knocked out left and right. They've done a great job of protecting him. He's done a great job of reading defenses and getting rid of the football, and also he's in fantastic shape. Lifts weights 3 or 4 times a week.
On a 2nd and 8, Walsh will put it in the air for the first time. Elias releasing out of the backfield and stumbling forward. Just about at the marker with Ike Reese able to bring him down. Indianapolis 44, Philadelphia 3. Walsh, a former Cowboy, former Saint, former Bear, former Ram, former Buck. I'll stop there.
When you look at his trophy room in the house, you don't see any of the wall. All you see is jerseys up there in his trophy room. He's got enough of them from each team.
Had 11 starts for New Orleans back in 1990. Had 11 starts for Chicago back in 1994. Since then, only 3 starts for St. Louis in 96. This is a 3rd and 3. They get the play off. It was very close. Out of the shotgun, Walsh throwing and connecting with Terrence Wilkins. Left the football out there, and it is recovered. Indianapolis thought they had it initially. Philadelphia fought for it, and the Eagles will take over. The first Indianapolis turnover of the day. Bobby Taylor on the recovery, and Terrence Wilkins, a young player in his own right, left that football out there.
And that's just a rookie mistake, trying to make more than you should. When you're right there, you've got the first down on 3rd down, just go ahead and lay down. You're ahead big time in this game. Don't try to make the touchdown run on every reception after the catch. But right here, you need to put the ball away, and that's just a rookie mistake. Philadelphia, Johnny on the spot, they converge around the ball. That's one thing they've been able to do with this defense, create turnovers.
And a fellow rookie, second-year pro, I should say, Jeremiah Trotter, was able to jar the ball loose. So McNabb will throw it too high. Nay Brown, the intended man, as McNabb was looking for the score.
Nay Brown's an interesting story. They drafted him out of the University of North Carolina in the 4th round. And talking to Andy Reid, the head coach, he said he's got the best hands on the team. But the problem with Nay Brown is he doesn't know how to be physical on the line of scrimmage. He played in a very soft offense at North Carolina where they weren't very physical. Now in the NFL, when you're getting pressed on the line and you have to take it to an opponent and run through an opponent, he doesn't know how to do that. He's finally starting to learn that through the middle of the season. And it's just rookie mistakes. And it's just a rookie growth spurt.
Only 22 years old. He's a project they want to work with him. McNabb will tuck it and run. Spin move. And he gets out to the 16-yard line for a gain of 4. Billy Austin was the man to finally bring him down. It'll be 3rd and 6.
And at this point, if I'm Philadelphia and Andy Reid, I just play all my young players. That's the only way they're ever going to get experience in the NFL. You're down at a point right now. You're not going to come back and win this game. At least build a foundation with your young players on this football team. That's why you see your Nay Browns in there and Damian Douglas make it in the game. But even the offensive linemen should be in there. Give them a chance to get some experience and get it under their belt for the future to find out if they can play in this game.
McNabb, the first Philadelphia rookie quarterback to win his first start since Mike Barilla in 1972. Complete. Chad Lewis out to the 5-yard line and a first down for Philly. 10 yards through the air, and Lewis is just happy to be back on the field and back in a Philadelphia uniform.
I don't know if he's that happy on it. Let me see. He left the St. Louis Rams at 7-2. And now he's picked up by the 3-7 Philadelphia Eagles. He's happy to be back in the NFL, but you never know. But it's great. He started in Philadelphia. He's come back to Philadelphia. He's got a great rapport with the offensive linemen and the other tight ends that were here. And Luther Broughton, he was here when he was here before, and he knows the offense. That's one thing Andy Reid said. Hey, the guy knows the offense.
And that's why they brought him back off of waivers when St. Louis decided to go in a different direction. And again, Deuce Staley looking for the corner, forcing his way forward. He tried to nudge the foot over. The Eagles want the touchdown. They are not going to give it to him. Staley claims that he was able to move that foot around the cone. Thomas Randolph forced him out. It was a nifty move.
He was abused. Thomas Randolph was simply abused. Deuce Staley just gave him the straight arm and just drove him right to the goal line. Look at this right there. Just drove him to the goal line.
Now watch,
I'm getting in. I'm getting in.
See the right foot right there?
Yeah.
Tried to scoot it in, but they're not going to give it to him.
That's a heck of a run by Deuce Staley. I mean, that's just getting.
Now, if there's any justice, he gets the football here with an opportunity to bang it home. A timeout called with 8:34 left in the fourth. Indianapolis 44, Philadelphia 3. Eagles with a chance to get their first touchdown of the day. Will they get it? We'll find out when we come back to the vet. No, Adrian. It's not bad. Very good, Mark. I was very impressed by that.
Hey, it's all those hits in the head over the years.
44-3. Philadelphia with a chance to get its first touchdown on a 2nd and goal. Staley spinning off of one tackler, and he will waltz into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. Jason Belzer could not bring him down, and Deuce Staley was able to bounce off and make his way for the score. Now, they've been waiting to fire those up all day, but this was their first chance to do so. It's 44-9, Indy.
There's one thing this Philadelphia Eagle offense has. They have a legitimate NFL running back. You look at the rest of this football team, Donovan McNabb's going to be a quarterback in the future, but Deuce Staley is a legitimate running back.
To an eligible position. Will penalize 5 yards and replay the down.
Mark, I did not hear that call from Johnny Greer. I did not see a flag on that play as well.
I did not see a flag at all.
Ineligible receiver downfield.
On a run. That's difficult on a run.
Bubba Miller did not report, is what I believe they're calling.
That has to be the call.
Where was the flag initially?
Well, as an offensive line, I did not see a flag, but as an offensive lineman, when you go to report in on short yardage and goal line, you're not wearing a high 80s or 90 number. You have to report and say, going into the game, Mark May, number 73,
right.
Reporting. You have to tell them after every play. If you don't, they're going to call a penalty on you every time.
Well, it was Dellenbach, Jeff Dellenbach, who did not report on a pump fake, floating it back to the end zone, caught by Chad Lewis. Touchdown. The first NFL touchdown pass for Donovan McNabb. And now the fireworks go off in earnest. So Deuce Staley has a touchdown taken away from him. Chad Lewis, who has just signed on this week, able to catch it, and Donovan McNabb will get that football for his first NFL touchdown pass, unless there was some other flag that I didn't see. And there goes Johnny Greer towards the sideline. Only 1 foot was in bounds, but I do believe that the referee felt that he was forced out of bounds.
Indianapolis has challenged the ruling on the play.
So the Colts will challenge it. The question becomes, was Lewis in bounds, and if he wasn't, was it his fault?
How about when you're up 44-3 and you're going to challenge because they make it 44-9? Donovan McNabb on the pass at the end. Chad Lewis.
There's one. He's in.
He's in.
Another angle. There's one.
No, there's not one. He didn't have possession until the second foot got down.
Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like he had it and bobbled it. From that angle, it was tough to see from the first angle, but that angle shows he had the ball, bobbled it a little bit, second foot was down.
So the question becomes, did he have possession when the first foot was down? Here's Lewis emerging from your picture.
Right there. Now he gets 1 foot down. That's a tough call. I think he bobbles it. It's not a touchdown. That's why they're doing it. Here's the best look right here. Right there, he doesn't have possession. There he cradles it, 1 foot in, but does his momentum. Ratcliffe Thomas pushes him out at the end of the play. He's pushed out by a defender, Mike Caldwell and Thomas.
Man, I think Johnny Greer's going to give it to him.
Just give it to him. It's 44-9. Give it to him.
Let's see.
After reviewing the play, we have a touchdown. The second foot was down in bounds.
Good.
Johnny's a veteran.
He is. And that's a good thing about it. You've got to have veteran officials on these rulings, especially the coach's challenge. But at that point, he had the ball, bobbled it, and then he got possession of it.
Will be charged with their second timeout.
So that is the second time that Jim Mora has challenged and the second time that he has lost a timeout.
Well, the one thing about it is when you're up a ton of points, you can have your coach's challenge at least to work on it. You know, in a tight game, you're not going to challenge just to challenge. You're going to challenge because you think it's a play that was miscalled. But in a game like this, if it's close, throw it out there. You got to try to use the system as much as you can.
Now the extra point for David Akers, who has stepped in for the injured Norm Johnson, out with back spasms. Akers puts it through. Touchdown for Chad Lewis, and the first ever for Donovan McNabb at this level. (44-10), Indianapolis with the lead on Philadelphia as the Eagles get their first touchdown of the day. David Akers kicks it off and kicks it deep. Colts were anticipating a short kickoff, maybe a squibber, but it goes through the end zone and a touchback. So a 1st and 10 now for the Colts from their own 20-yard line with 8:20 remaining in the fourth quarter. Indianapolis has been in control of this contest from the first quarter on, and Steve Walsh has come on to replace Peyton Manning. First time that Manning has taken a breather in a game in his career. Hand off for Elias. Edgerrin James is getting a breather, and Elias has taken a couple of shots here. Rashard Cook, the latest Eagle to lay one out on him. Well, a number of great rivalries being played today around the NFL, and on NFL.com, they're spotlighting the most memorable moments in the history of these matchups. The likes of Washington and the Giants, New England, Miami, good rivalry. Detroit, Green Bay, they go back. You can check it out on NFL.com. Now a 2nd and 8 from the 22. Long count for Walsh. In the pocket, he throws. Catch made by Isaac Jones. And that will qualify as the first NFL reception for Jones, who thought he had his first catch earlier today. It goes for 8 yards.
For Isaac Jones, he showed me a lot today, a lot of quicks. And if you look at their offense, Tom Moore, their offensive coordinator, must have a lot of faith in Isaac Jones. They just got him. He's a free agent out of Purdue. Here's a guy that hasn't really been in the offense at all, but Peyton Manning works with these young receivers every day in practice. Even though they don't get in, if they're on the roster, he's going to make sure that he spends extra time with his wide receivers so they're prepared when they get in the game.
And he has given Indianapolis a first down from the 30-yard line. Handed off for Elias. Like a locomotive, he tried to get through that hole. He was tackled by Ike Reese after a gain of 2. How about coming to Philadelphia, your days with the Washington Redskins? You have a nice affair with the Eagles fans? Would you say it was a good relationship?
We still don't speak as of today. When I came here as a Washington Redskin, they booed us, they threw things at us, they spit on us when we came out of the tunnel. First game here, I had my helmet off. I got hit with an orange.
An orange.
From that point on, I learned always wear your helmet in Philadelphia if you're a Washington Redskin.
Now, could that have something to do with the fact that your noggin is large?
Actually, I was kind of hungry, so maybe they're just throwing food at the animals.
Wow, it was a heck of a target, and somebody had pretty good aim. 44-10, Indianapolis. Coming up on 6 minutes to play in the fourth. Ball deflected, knocked up in the air, and intercepted. Going back for a touchdown, Brandon Whiting. So the Eagle fans that stayed here at the vet do have something to cheer about in the fourth. And it's big, 6'3", 280-pound Brandon Whiting in his second year at a Cal with the interception and touchdown.
And that's just good football by Philadelphia. Good football by Philadelphia. Getting your hands up in the air. If you can't get there at the quarterback, they blitz their linebacker up the middle. Get good pressure on the pocket. Get your hands in the air and knock it up in the air. Now it's just luck. Who comes down with it? Brandon Whiting. He's behind the pocket. He sees it deflected up in the air. Just keeps his eyes on it. Comes down with the football. Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles.
Extra point from David Akers. And Brandon Whiting has his first interception and score in the NFL, but it's 44-17 Colts. A play to remember for Brandon Whiting. 22-yard return, interception, and a touchdown. A defensive lineman's dream, I'm sure. Chance to share in that glory. There's the squiver by Akers. Knocked around and out of bounds. Akers was able to pop it up in the air, but it was deflected out on the sideline and knocked out of bounds. And a flag comes down.
We have a kickoff out of bounds. We'll penalize 5 yards and re-kick.
So they'll back it up 5, and Akers will do it again. Another look at that interception touchdown.
Defensive end Mike Mamula gets pressure, just puts his hands up, knocks the ball in the air. And on this touchdown, Brandon Whiting should give half of this football to Mike Mamula, because without Mike Mamula getting his paw out there and knocking it up in the air, he doesn't get this reception, this interception here for the touchdown. But the big fella takes it in for the score.
Well, Mike Mamula, who has dealt with numerous injuries throughout his career, signed a 4-year deal during the offseason, missed all of '98 with a knee injury, and the numbers have been modest this year. The Eagles certainly missed the pass rushing skills of Hugh Douglas. That ball knocked around. Eagles claim they've got it, and they do. The lead was just too large. If not, maybe Philadelphia would have been able to make a move in this game. But keep in mind the Colts offense playing with 2 of their best players, Manning and James, on the sideline. Damian Douglas with the recovery for Philadelphia. So David Akers does his job.
9 on this play. I think this is the most dangerous play in football, because if you're the receiving team, you're looking at the ball, you're jumping up looking at the ball, and the guys are attacking you down the field of play, nailing you and knocking you off, trying to come up with the football. They're not looking for the ball. Half of them, they're just looking to knock you out of the way, and you're looking for the football. You're in a defenseless position.
1st and 10 now from the 38. McNabb. Pocket is breaking down. He completes it to Cecil Martin, who is quickly brought down by Ratcliffe Thomas. No gain.
Here's what I'm talking about. You're jumping in the air looking for the football, and you've got these missiles and projectiles coming down, just nailing you right in the chest. And then you try to come up with a football. That's your main goal. But at the bottom of the pile, Damian Douglas comes up with the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, the New York Jets have thrown a monkey wrench into the AFC East race. The victory today over the Buffalo Bills. And we'll see how things shake down in the standings. The Colts are going to win this football game with a 44-17 lead, 5 minutes to play. McNabb throwing to the sideline and through the hands of Torrance Small. Incomplete. Colts came in with a record of 7-2. We will project them to 8-2. Miami and New England are battling right now in a close one. Dolphins at 7-2. Patriots are 6-3. Buffalo, with that loss, drops to 7-4. And all of a sudden, the Jets are inching closer to the 500 mark. They're 4-6. Miami currently with a 27-17 lead on New England, so it appears as if the Dolphins will win today and make a move, and New England will have lost 3 straight. Here's McNabb throwing. Picked off. Down the sideline. Tony Blevins looking for the goal line. He'll come up short. Out of bounds.
Did you see the lunge by Donovan McNabb at the end of the play? It looks like he was doing a 3-gainer off the board. He just jumped straight up in the air.
Flag down on the play. Is this one coming back? It was a 31-yard return off the INT. It would have been the second interception for McNabb.
Interference. 82. Offense is declined. First down.
So it is Damian Douglas who recovered that onside kick, who's called for pass interference, and McNabb does suffer his second interception of the day.
But Donovan McNabb gets great protection, doesn't look anybody off, telegraphs his throw, and Tony Blevins just reads the play. But at the end of this play, watch Donovan McNabb. It looks like he's on a springboard. He goes straight up in the air right there.
Well, that's one thing Marvin Harrison told us. I asked Marvin, did you know from day one that McNabb had the makings of an NFL quarterback? He said, oh, to be honest, I didn't know if he could be an NFL quarterback, but I did know he was one heck of an athlete. He was blown away by his athletic ability his redshirt freshman year when he started at quarterback for Syracuse. First and goal from the 7. Keith Elias trying to barrel his way forward. Nothing going on there as he tried the right side. Jeremiah Trotter, first man to get there. And it will be second and goal. And I asked McNabb about Marvin Harrison. He said, man, I got to the campus. He was a skinny guy that was just fast, who had great hands, but you had to respect his ability. And you know, Donovan went as far to say, one of the reasons why I'm here was the help of Marvin Harrison his senior year, bringing me along at the quarterback position. That's some high praise.
That is big time praise. Not only that, he talks to him all the time. We talked about that before. Just friends talking to one another gets him through his NFL rigors and rules.
Marcus Pollard fumbled the football, and a scrum for it. Trotter recovered the fumble. The initial call was touchback, and it will be a touchback. The back judge came lunging forward to make the call. Pollard thought he had 6 points written all over this play.
Into the end zone, recovered by the defense. First down, Philadelphia.
Third straight turnover for the Indianapolis offense.
Marcus Pollard does come down with a reception, but he's not over the goal line. He just gets stripped of the ball, knocked out. That wasn't even close. That's a heck of a play defensively for Mike Caldwell. But I can tell you one thing, Jim Moore is not happy about the way his team's responded in the fourth quarter of this football game. But Marcus Pollard, the ball's behind him. He's cradling it in. He doesn't think anyone's behind him that's going to tackle him. But Mike Caldwell just comes in underneath his arm and knocks the ball loose.
Well, in back-to-back weeks, the Colts have not played well in the fourth quarter. McNabb under a rush and too low for Jed Weaver. Incomplete. Clock is stopped with 4:08 to play in the fourth. And Indianapolis in front, 44-17. Here's McNabb throwing it. Able to make the completion to Luther Broughton, who is having his best day as a professional. Broughton with his 4th catch of the afternoon.
For Donovan McNabb, his last 2 passes have been bullets across the middle. When he has his tight end across the middle, unless the defender's close to him, he's just got to drop that ball off. It's one of the little things he needs to pick up on as a quarterback in the NFL.
It'll be 3rd and 5 for Philly, and it is a final now in South Florida. Miami has knocked off New England 27-17. Patriots appear to be in a tailspin. On a 3rd and 5. Throwing. Jed Weaver had it knocked away. It's incomplete. Coverage from Chad Cota and Jason Belzer. So we will update those standings for you. Miami and Indianapolis in a flat-footed tie for first in the AFC East. New England at 6-4. Buffalo wedged in between at 7-4.
Now, you talk about the New England Patriots going into a tailspin. Every season, in the middle of the season, they seem to lose 4 out of every 5 games. And this year, it's not going to be easy for them. They've got Buffalo coming up. They've got Indianapolis coming up in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be very difficult for New England to make the playoffs.
On the punt from Landeta. Terrence Wilkins is spun down at the 35. 44-yard punt, 3-yard return. And Alan Rossum made the tackle. Coming up, the American General postgame show. Join Jim, Craig, Randy, and Jerry with all the scores and highlights from today's action around the NFL. That's coming up on the American General postgame show right here on CBS. 3:10 to play here in the 4th. This was not much of a ball game. Indianapolis behind Manning, James, Harrison, and their defense early on. Jim Morris saw his team put up a complete effort through 3 quarters of play. Philadelphia has been able to manufacture some points here in the 4th, but a lot of it with second-teamers on the field for Indy, including Keith Elias. Unable to sidestep tacklers, no gain on the play. Jeremiah Trotter, another stop for him. And the clock will roll. Colts remaining scheduled next week. Big matchup with the Jets, who have now won 3 straight games. Then at Miami, home for New England, 3 huge divisional games. They take on Washington on December 19th and then wrap up the season on the road at Cleveland. And a game against Buffalo that could play a huge role in where this team will fit into the playoff picture.
And the thing about the teams in the AFC is they have to play each other, so they're going to knock each other off. And we talked about it before. Jim Moore told us a 10-6 team may not make the playoffs. And in the NFC, an 8-8 team may make the playoffs.
You're right. Out of the NFC East, in fact. Elias with a second effort gets ahead to the 40-yard line. He picked up 6. Gardner and Trotter were able to combine on the stop. And because of that battle in the AFC East, it opens things up for a team like, let's say, Tennessee, or maybe one of those AFC Western Divisional teams, like an Oakland or a Kansas City. We've hit the 2-minute warning. We'll come back to Philadelphia with a final couple of minutes from the vet after this. 44-17, 2-minute warning here in the 4th with the Indianapolis Colts in front. AFC East shaping up to be a great finish in the division with the Indianapolis Colts, the surprise of the entire conference right now. St. Louis would qualify in the NFC. On a 3rd and 4, one more first down, and this one is basically over. Handoff. With a flag down, Elias couldn't get to the marker as Greg Jefferson made the stop. But Johnny Greer will sort through this. Against the Colts with 1:54 left on the game clock.
He's never happy. Until the final whistle, Jim Moore is never happy.
Offense. The tackle lined up on the end of the line and did not report. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
Philadelphia declines it, so Indianapolis will punt. Coming up next week in the AFC East, Miami is at Dallas on Thanksgiving. Buffalo taking on New England with a game that may put an end to the Patriots season unless they can turn things around quickly. And the Colts and Jets coming up as well next Sunday afternoon. On the punt from Hunter Smith. Alan Rossum is devoured at the 10-yard line. Marcus Pollard probably getting his frustration out from fumbling earlier, making the tackle. Once again, a reminder, the American General postgame show is coming up. Our crew back in New York will have all the scores and highlights from today's action around the National Football League. That's all coming up, the American General postgame show here on CBS. Also a chance to tell you that the executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. The coordinating director of the NFL on CBS is Larry Cavallina. Today's game produced by Victor Frank, directed by Mark Grant. Senior producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann. Director Bob Matina. The associate director for today's game, Chris Svensson. Broadcast associate, Andrew Hahn. Pass underneath, and it's incomplete. Our statistician, Dave Freed. spotter Jimmy Stamos. As we wrap things up here in Philly with 1:40 left.
And I think one thing this Colt team has proven this year, one, that they can definitely win on the road. They can win in hostile environments, and they can win big on the road. And when their first team's in there, they don't make a lot of mistakes. And that's a sign of a good football team, of playing on the road in the NFL.
I left the best for last. Neil Silver, our computer operator in the truck, part of the crew as well. And Torrance Small makes the catch out at the 20-yard line. Actually, Neil was ranked the best computer operator in the NFL. I don't know if you knew that. The latest rankings did come out.
Who makes the rankings, Neil?
I don't know. I think Neil is involved in the voting process. Down to 1:18 left now on the fourth. And a learning experience for Donovan McNabb. This was a very long day for the Syracuse rookie.
And the only way you can learn in the NFL is to make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. If you have success right off the bat, it's tough to learn from your mistakes. Donovan McNabb will learn a lot out of today's game.
Nice catch by Nate Brown. You talked about his hands earlier and how impressed Andy Reid has been. It was a good example of that as he caught it cleanly on the sideline and then out of bounds with an even 1 minute left here in the fourth. Jim Mora's Indianapolis Colts. And a chance to tell you about their road play over the last 4 years. 1996, a playoff season. And that bus certainly headed in the right direction with Mora. We just wanted to get that in. Here's McNabb. Pump fake. Looking to run. And forced out of bounds. Andy Hahn worked so hard on those graphics.
We have to get them in,
even if it's the final minute of play. Any cartoon graphic is basically going to make air, whether it fits or not.
Oh, it has to, because he spends so much time on it. During the course of the week, he'll spend 20, 30 hours just on that graphic alone.
On that one graphic.
And put 15 minutes in everything else.
That's right. That's a very good scouting report.
But he does an outstanding job.
Jim Mora, that's not a smile. That will not qualify. It was very close. It's more of a grimace with 51 seconds to play on a 2nd and 3 now for Philly. Here's McNabb throwing on a slant pattern. It's Small. At the 40-yard line and a first down for Philadelphia. 9 yards through the air. The Indianapolis Colts are 8-2. Think about that statement for a moment.
When we saw this team last year, we said that they'd be vastly improved. Maybe a 500 team, maybe 9-7, and eke into the playoffs and get that experience if they improve their defense. Well, they've gone leaps and bounds above that. And now we knew this, and we talked about this team early. We had them in the game, in the first game of the season. Yeah. Now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon how good this team is.
Well, they are. Here's McNabb throwing underneath. Caught by Bieniemy. And that should do it. The Indianapolis Colts have now won 6 consecutive games. They have come into Philadelphia and have blown out the Eagles. 44-17. That's your final from the vet. Jim Mora, formerly a head coach in the USFL here in Philadelphia. The success continues because he was a winner with the Stars back in the 80s, and he wins here today for the Colts. Edgerrin James, a huge all-around day. You name it, the Colts did it right today as they improved to 8-2. The Eagles dropped to 3-8. For Mark May, our entire CBS crew, this is Ian Eagle. So long from Philly, where the Colts come up with a rout.